Oh boy, what is up? What is up, everybody? We are here back at it again with another grind session. I think I'm gonna play some multiplayer if it ever. I guess I gotta restart the app. I was thinking I might play some multiplayer just to hurry up and get the levels unlocked. But at the same time, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about zombies is the way to go for grinding out XP. So I might do a little bit of that as well, but excuse me. Starting off, I'm going to go into multiplayer. I like to kind of get loose. But I saw this, I guess, informational docu-thingy channel by Coffee and Cults. Never really heard of them, but the headline was everything you don't know about Danny Masterson and his crimes. So I'm going to be 100% honest. I know Danny Masterson. I know he's an actor. He was on that 70s show, blase blase. But quite honestly, outside of that, I know very little about who he is. So playlist filter, yeah, because I want to take off free for all. I don't like doing free for all, and I don't want to hold people back on kill confirm or search and destroy, since I'm not going to have my comms on too. All right. So I know he got tangled up into some legal stuff. Honestly, I know very little, so I was really curious to see what happened to him. Like I was a big fan of the show, you know, that 70s show, but honestly, I can't really think of him outside of it. I know he did like a few films. I might have seen one, but I can't even think of the name of it, honestly. So I'm just kind of like flabbergasted in a way of like what happened to this guy. So we're gonna just play some multiplayer and find out what exactly happened today in
Danny
here.
Masterson has been a staple on television
Oh
for the
my,
last
that's
25
low.
years. But behind the scenes, he was violently attacking women. Many more women than
Was
you've
that
heard
Boy Meets
about
World?
in the mainstream media. There's been a lot of discussion that none of his victims said anything for over 20 years and then accused him out of the blue with no evidence. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Masterson was a lifelong member of the Church of Scientology, and Scientology has allegedly not only been aware of these attacks, but they've been pressuring victims to not contact the authorities. Masterson's victims finally had enough and contacted the LAPD several years ago. After over half a decade of investigating, Danny Masterson was finally charged with attacking 3 women. Despite the fact that Masterson and his 3 siblings are famous celebrities who appeared in huge TV shows and movies, there was barely any media attention around Masterson's trial. Despite the hundreds of articles and dozens of interviews, his trial barely garnered any coverage. But suddenly,
down my game
overnight,
audio.
millions of people were weighing
Wait,
in
is that already
because
maxed out?
Masterson's A-list friends, Mila Kunis
Yeah, I
and
gotta
Ashton
switch.
Kutcher, leapt to defend Masterson and wrote letters praising him as a trustworthy friend that they would leave their own young children alone with. In this video, we'll be discussing absolutely everything to do with Danny Masterson.
Don't tell me it's got to do with kids.
Aftermath, and also the fallout from Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis's glowing endorsement. Cameras weren't allowed in the courthouse, so I hope this video can represent everything you've wanted to know about this case and trial, plus everything Scientology doesn't want you to know, including some old interviews and comments that certainly take on a new light with Masterson's charges in mind. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in to the life, crimes, and trial of a Hollywood monster who almost got away with it, Danny Masterson.
Oh my goodness. Dude, what did he do?
Winds up getting a job I didn't
working
know.
with me?
Yeah, she was as hot as she was. You know, come on.
What?
I think she was even hotter. But I'm not allowed to say that.
Hi, my name is Danny Masterson. Go touch my balls.
Why are you asking people to do that? That's the more important question. I mean, you got them. Yeah, right.
I literally looked right at
I've
him
heard about
as I
you.
was reloading.
And you'll be caught
Wish I
soon.
didn't
I
hit
know
the
you
button.
will. I will. And you'll be caught soon. I know you will.
I will.
Viewer discretion is advised as this video discusses extremely serious topics involving SA. Outside of court convictions, everything is alleged and based on research, sources available in the pinned comment.
Oh no.
Hardpoint relocating.
Danny
Oh,
Masterson
no.
and his siblings all grew up in the Church of Scientology. They've all also been actors since their childhood, with their mother Carol acting as his and his siblings' managers. His brother Chris went on to play older brother Francis on Malcolm in the Middle, and his sister Alana went on to play a lead
Wow.
in The Walking Dead for many seasons. Masterson and his brother were child models for the Ford agency, and they did print work in early childhood, later moving on to commercials and eventually moving into television and movies. Danny Masterson's first film role was in the 1990s classic Beethoven 2. He then went on to do a few more TV shows and movies in the mid-90s, including 2 episodes of Roseanne and
Roseanne.
the movie Face Off. Face Off also
Isn't
starred
Face Off?
fellow Scientologist John Travolta, and Danny Masterson's small part seemed to echo his future crimes.
Oh, I couldn't get the long shot.
Stand by.
Oh no.
Hostile UAV in the area.
In the late 90s, Danny continued to multi-episode arcs on shows like Party of Five and Sybil. But it wasn't until 1998 that Danny hit it big, when he was cast on a TV show called Teenage Wasteland. After the show went through several working titles, they finally settled on one, and on August 23rd, 1998, the show that ended up running for 8 years premiered under its decided upon title, That 70s Show. That 70s Show ran for 8 seasons and was an enormous success. With 200 episodes, it was made Fox's second longest running live-action sitcom ever, just behind Married with Children, though it didn't quite have the same rating
not
success.
expecting that.
Masterson starred alongside 5 other cast members: Topher Grace, Mila Kunis, Laura Prepon, Ashton Kutcher, and Wilmer Valderrama. There seems to have been a lot of improper behavior behind the scenes of that 70s show, and it appears as though Mila Kunis in particular went through and was exposed to a lot on the set.
Meanwhile, at the
lovely.
same event, Mila
Oh,
joked that
God.
the boys on the show didn't joke around with her quite a bit for years.
Was it hard growing up? Of course, you know, it's Ashton and Topher and Wilmer, they're all a bunch of jokesters. So were they torturing you like a little sister on the set back then?
Yeah, I mean, I got pants a lot. But it was all wear. And it
Got
was
pantsed a lot?
I don't feel very hot, I have to say. Like, the waistband, is literally
What?
up to my, like, one
Oh no no.
And, like,
Secure the
you know,
area.
it's polyester, it's tight.
Friendly
It's not
cruise missile
flat.
deployed.
Did she say get pantsed a lot?
Enemies inside the perimeter.
Topher and Wilmer, they're all a bunch of jokesters. So were they torturing you like a little sister on the set back
Stand
then?
by.
Yeah, I mean, I got pants a lot. But it was all wear.
Why
Really hot.
Well, thanks, Danny. I don't
Why are we? Why is that a joke? Like that's like some okay locker room thing you do with the guys, but like to oh my god, dude, that is sick already. Like how disrespectful. Took that. How disrespectful can you be to do something like that to a woman, man? Like it doesn't even matter. Like first off, age is definitely important, but like that should not be a factor in this. Like you should not be pantsing your female friends. Like what? Like even like guy to guy, that could be a little weird in my opinion, but like dude, what? That was one thing. Like back in the day, like kids were just, they did a lot.
Secure the target
I
area.
have to say, like, the waistband, I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, look where the mines went.
It's literally up to my like
UAV in the area.
1/3 rib, and like you know, it's probably it's tight. It's not
Why is he?
flattering.
That's a
in my
creepy
opinion.
I ended
smile.
up getting a job, and I didn't know. Yeah, she was.
So now I'm already starting to wonder because like during the show,
UAV on station.
there's a part where her character Jackie and Hyde start dating and hooking up and all this stuff. So is it like, did he get them to write that in? You know, like so he can start doing his creepy ways and like start. Oh no,
Stand by. Friendly UAV online.
that show's out for a long time.
14, she was even hotter. But I'm not allowed to say that. Have you guys learned a lot?
14, she was.
Target
I
area updated. Move to the hard point.
No.
don't even want to repeat it.
There obviously was
Definitely
inappropriate
not gonna
things that we
I can't
know
say that
about,
out loud.
like her first kiss with Ashton Kutcher when she was only 14 and he was 19. Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher later recounted this story in an interview with my friend and avid watcher of this channel, Rosie
You know what's
O'Donnell.
funny is when she was 14 when we started the show. I was like 19, right?
Right.
And they're like, okay, you guys are gonna be making out in this scene. And I'm like thinking like, wait, this is like slightly illegal,
That's
right?
probably your first kiss ever,
It
right?
was my first kiss. What if someone bet you made with Danny about our first kiss?
No, it wasn't the first kiss. It was like a second or third kiss.
It was the first. It was like the first week.
No, it was not the first week.
Whatever. Let me tell you what happened.
No, let me tell you about that.
No, I never kissed you guys. I was so. And you know, I was attractive.
Oh
and
my
I was a
God.
14-year-old little
I
girl,
should've
and
had that
I
kill.
was extremely scared for my life. Sure. And he was very nice about it. He was like,
Scared for her life, dude?
Okay. And Danny goes and goes, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her. When would you stick your tongue in my mouth or something?
What? No.
$10.
So Danny bets me like $20 that I wouldn't do it. I'm like, yeah, sure. What's the deal? You
And then
know?
the cop showed up and you got arrested pretty much.
They should have,
He
but they
never
didn't.
did it. And
I so did.
He claims to this day he did that. I swear.
Mila, so did it.
He never did it.
I
So
didn't let him. I think he tried, but I think it
No.
felt so good.
Come on.
Yeah. You did the old teeth block?
Yes.
While I've been going through a number of old interviews for this video,
Wow.
there's been a lot of very questionable
did not
stories
age
and
well.
accounts, and we'll discuss those
Oh,
later
wow,
in
that
the
did
video.
not age
Flashing
well.
forward for a second, 4 of Danny Masterson's That 70s Show co-stars
See?
wrote letters for him while he was awaiting sentencing, and we'll discuss those individuals and the letters later in the video. But the majority of those letters all repeated one story from the early days of That 70s Show. Danny Masterson was the oldest of the 6 kids on the show, and in the first season, he sat the group down and told them that they had a good thing going with the show becoming a success, and this was their shot, and nobody better ruin it for him by doing drugs or being an idiot and having the press splash their mistakes all over the magazines. That 70s Show was very abruptly cancelled during its 8th season due to the ratings significantly dropping due to the
missions?
loss of stars Topher Grace and Ashton Kutcher. Masterson remained best friends with Ashton Kutcher, and throughout the show, all of the cast were extremely close, with the exception of Topher Grace. Rumors always existed that Topher didn't like Masterson, and that as Masterson was the leader of the group of the rest of the cast, Topher didn't have much to do with the cast outside of work. Topher just showed up to work, found his light, read his lines, hit his marks, and went home. The rest of the cast were so close to Danny Masterson that all of them, except of course Topher Grace, went yearly to the Scientology Celebrity Center for Christmas parties, Christmas plays, and just to regularly hang out.
I'm a woman and he's a man.
Domination.
And I'm a talking dog.
Capture all objectives. Keep it secure.
But none of them matters.
We're taking Alpha.
You know what? I can hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, Chris and Laura are my 2 best friends, and Laura's basically my sister-in-law, and I watched Millie grow up since she was 14 years old. You know, so those are family.
We're losing Alpha.
We're basically in each other's heads.
Laura Prepon, who played Donna on That 70s Show, not only converted to Scientology while on the show with Danny Masterson, but she also dated Chris Masterson, Danny's brother for almost a decade and the entire run of the
Marksman.
show. Ashton Kutcher's assistant for many years was a Scientologist, which could not have occurred without the explicit permission of Scientology. We'll discuss Scientology a lot throughout the rest of this video, and there are a lot more stories and references to
Definitely
Ashton
not going
Kutcher
back that
and Mila
way.
Kunis later on also, but we'll get into all of that later in the video. Masterson continued to work mainly on TV over the next decade, and he remained close friends with Ashton Kutcher and Wilder Valderrama, so close that they opened a restaurant, and Masterson also opened a club called Guys.
This is so
Masterson's
good.
club had a dark reputation, with many women coming out and saying that they had been drugged on the premises.
I'm sorry, I feel like I need to pause and specify by this is so dope, the fact that we're playing in Terminal right now. I want to make sure I definitely differentiate and separate those words from anything going on with Danny right now, because holy hell, this is eye-opening. I had no idea he was doing all this. Sorry, I want to back up again just so I can...
But we'll get into all of that later in the video. Masterson continued to work mainly on TV over the next decade, and he remained close friends with Ashton Kutcher and Wilder Valderrama, so close that they opened a restaurant, and Masterson also opened a club called Guys. Masterson's club had a dark
Guys.
reputation, with many women coming out and saying that they had been drugged on the premises. One evening, as many as 7 women were taken away in ambulances with suspected drugging. Masterson also had Lindsay Lohan removed from the club one evening, as Lohan angrily shouted at Masterson that she was going to call the cops on him. Lohan had previously guest starred back during the run of That 70s Show, and she was also at that time dating Wilder Valderrama. Wilmer was continuing his long history of befriending and then dating underage girls, only going
not him
public with
too.
their relationship the second that they turned 18. In 2016, Kutcher
Wow.
and Masterson starred and were the executive producers on a new Netflix show called The Ranch. Many of the That 70s Show cast members guest starred on the earlier seasons of The Ranch. Interviews that the pair did discussing their early 20s as party boys in Hollywood came across as innocent enough initially, but that was before the accusations against Masterson went public. But when you look back upon them now, with everything we know, they do take on a much darker tone.
Yeah. You were big on the party scene. A little bit, yeah.
I want to know how he was getting so close.
But he knew, like, he'd been here, like, grew up in the whole thing. And this was, like,
Come on.
pre-TMZ, pre-cell phone camera. Yeah. You could, like, go out. Right.
All right, so we're getting into
In
the
this chapter,
accusations
we'll
now.
discuss the accusations against Danny Masterson, the first trial, and the 3 victims. By victims, I mean the 3 Jane Does that Danny Masterson was charged with attacking in both trials. And in
can't
the
see
first trial, there was
shiz
a
with
4th
these
victim, Trisha
iron
V, who
sights.
testified, and in the second trial, there was another victim named Kathleen who was attacked by Masterson in Canada. Throughout this video, I'll refer and discuss to many more women who have come forward and continue to come forward about Danny Masterson attacking them. You will be surprised by the amount of women, and based on everything we know about reporting SA crimes, there are a lot more victims out there. When it comes to this case, this trial, this story, a lot of people have just read the headlines. They've talked about how this is nothing more than women claiming something that happened over 20 years ago, but that's actually not true. We'll discuss this in the chapter and throughout the video, but these attacks were reported back in the early 2000s. There is a rule in Scientology, a very strict rule, that no Scientologist is allowed to report another Scientologist for a crime to the WOG authorities. WOG is Scientology slang for the outside world, for anyone who isn't a Scientologist. All 3 victims were Scientologists, so Scientology stopped them from reporting their attacks to the police. But even so, some of these women were so hurt and so disappointed by Scientology's handling that they did go to the LAPD.
Wow.
Much more on that in a minute.
So
Even
the
Leah Remini and her show
quote-unquote
Scientology in the
church
Aftermath was brought
was
to
helping
story
cover this
in the
stuff up.
mid-2010s, and her show investigated for almost 3 years. Leah interviewed 2 of the original 4 victims in 2017, but they couldn't air the episode until 2019 so that they didn't interfere with the investigation. So let's start with the allegations and we'll go on from there. In March 2017, 3 women filed SA allegations against Danny Masterson, prompting an investigation by the LAPD. Through his agent, Masterson denied these accusations. In December 2017, after a 4th victim's accusations, Netflix fired Masterson from his TV show, The Ranch. He worked on this show with several of his That 70s Show co-stars, including Ashton Kutcher. Netflix issued the following statement: "Yesterday was Masterson's last day on the show, and production will resume in early 2018 without him." Masterson stated that he was obviously disappointed in Netflix's decision to write his character off The Ranch, but prior to Netflix writing his character off the show, there was 2
They just kept the pistol
controversies.
out.
On December 4th, 2017, the Huffington Post published an article that while at a soccer game for their kids, one of Danny Masterson's accusers was talking to another parent. This parent turned out to be Andy Yeatman, who was an executive at Netflix. When the accuser asked Yeatman why Netflix wasn't taking any action against Masterson, because by this stage they still hadn't issued a statement on him or fired him from the show, Yeatman then said, "Oh, it's because we don't believe them," in reference to the alleged victims. Netflix, who was embarrassed by this story, fired both Yeatman and Masterson, but it's obvious that that is what was going on inside of Netflix, because there was a second controversy involving Danny Masterson. So this story involves a former production assistant on the show The Ranch, and this production assistant's name is Nick Olszewski, and he ended up emailing his former boss, who was Melanie Patterson, and Melanie was a producer for The Ranch, but she also worked on That 70s Show for nearly its entire run. So Nick reached out to Melanie after reading the initial Huffington Post article about what happened with Danny Masterson and the Jane Does. So Nick had worked on The Ranch for 3 seasons, and in some of the articles that have come out about this, he has been quoted as saying, "Danny and I were really good friends for about 1.5 years, and we hung out a lot." After a taping, Danny would typically have an after-show party at a private room at La Poubelle, a French restaurant across the street from the Scientology Celebrity Center on Franklin. So Nick didn't put in his initial email what he wanted to tell Netflix. He ended up just sending the email saying that he had something that he wanted to tell them in regards to Danny Masterson and his behavior, and he just basically had a story to tell them. So that's all Nick told them, but Nick said what he wanted to tell them was a few things, and there's a few like anecdotal things. Like he said that his girlfriend had only met Danny Masterson a handful of times, but that she was always really creeped out by him because he would always try and kiss her, and he would always touch her like really inappropriately for someone that she didn't know. He was always touching like really low in her back and like on her sides and stuff, and she's just said she didn't get a good vibe. Obviously that's not like concrete evidence, but Nick also said there was a few times that he heard Danny going really nuclear on some people down the phone when he thought no one was around. But the main thing that Nick wanted to just inform Netflix about was a conversation he heard between Danny Masterson and his co-star Alicia Cuthbert. Nick said, before Alicia and her sister and girlfriends were going to Las Vegas for a birthday party, Danny gave them a crash course in how to avoid getting roofied. Nick said he thought it was strange because Danny knew a lot about roofies. Again, nothing absolutely wild, but I can see, especially the last one, why he wanted to say something.
Why does he know
just
so
in
much?
case it's not going to really cause any harm to say something.
I
Well,
mean,
that's what he thought anyway, because
good for you
when
to-
somebody reached back out to him, it wasn't actually his old boss. It wasn't Netflix. It was actually Danny, because the producer had immediately gone to Danny Masterson and assumed that Nick was trying to tell them something to help Danny, not against him. And the producer said, oh, get in touch with him. And Masterson ended up texting Nick, and I will put a screenshot of this text on the screen, saying, yo, my bro, just finished run through a screenshot of
Hey, Danny, Blank is doing a campaign video for backpacks for kids. If I tag you, would you share it? Hope you're well. Yo, my bro, just finished run through. Mel told me earlier you hit her up with info to help me with this bullshit I'm dealing with. What you got? And ooh. What bullshit are you
this
dealing
text
with?
on the screen saying,
Mr.
yo,
Danny?
my bro, just finished run through. Mel told me earlier you hit her up with info to help me with this bullshit I'm dealing with. What you got? And that was pretty much the only text that there ever was. But there was a phone call from someone who identified themselves as Andrew to Nick and wouldn't give Nick their last name or their title or what they did, who they worked for. And Nick said, I'm not going to just tell anyone this random information, and I'm also, you know, not really comfortable with just having a conversation with you and me. Like, I'd rather have someone there as a witness. And he later actually found out that this person was Andrew Brentler, who is an attorney who works for Marty Singer, who is the legendary Hollywood attorney who has represented Masterson for years. Nick said he did reach out again to the producer and say, who is this Andrew guy? And the producer allegedly said, oh, it's one of our Netflix guys, which is obviously fake. And in a very bizarre coincidence, although Nick says he thinks it was a deliberate choice, but I'm not so sure about that. You know, you can make your own decision about this. When Danny Masterson was written off the ranch, his character drove off after being threatened at gunpoint by a character named Nick. So that maybe is just a bit of a strange coincidence. Again, it's nothing crazy, but I just thought it was worth mentioning because you do just kind of see how so many other people are enabling the behavior behind the scenes or even cleaning up their messes. A few weeks after this, a fifth woman came forward and made similar accusations against Masterson, and he was dropped as a client by his talent agency, United Talent Agency, which he had been with for over 20 years.
Finally, victims are being heard when it comes to Scientology. Praise the Lord. This is just the beginning. Scientology, your days of getting away with it is coming to an end. Oh, man. Leah Remini, man. She was one of my sitcom crushes. Freaking King of Queens. Freaking Doug, bro. How'd you pull that one, dude?
Years. In August 2019, the four women filed a lawsuit against Masterson and the Church of Scientology for stalking and harassment stemming from the rape allegations. One plaintiff claimed her dog died from unexplained traumatic injuries to its trachea and esophagus, also alleging that church members chased her as she drove her car, filming her without permission, harassing her online, and posted ads to social media sites soliciting sex in her name. name. Another plaintiff stated that she and her neighbors observed a man snapping pictures from her driveway, and later that night, someone broke a window in her 13-year-old daughter's bedroom. Masterson has since responded to one of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit, claiming, "I'm not going to fight my ex-girlfriend in the media like she's been baiting me to do for 2 years. I will beat her in court, and look forward to it because the public will finally be able to learn the truth and see how I've been railroaded by this woman. And once her lawsuit is thrown out, I intend to sue her and the others who jumped on the bandwagon for the damage they've caused me and my family." He did not address the stalking or harassment claims. In January 2020, Chrissy Bixler, who is Jane Doe 3, reported that a second family pet had been euthanized due to being fed rat poison wrapped inside a rolled up piece of raw meat, alleging that this was done by Scientologists. Also that month, Masterson's wife, Bijou Phillips, made an Instagram post mocking court papers against Masterson. On June 17th, 2020, Masterson was charged with raping a 23-year-old woman in 2001, a 28-year-old woman in early 2003, and a 23-year-old woman in late 2003. The three counts came after a 3-year investigation,
So is that
beginning
6?
in 2017. On January 21st, 2021, Masterson pleaded not guilty. On May 21st, 2021, Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Almeida said that she found all 3 witnesses to be credible and the evidence presented during a preliminary hearing sufficient to support the charges. She ordered that Masterson be bound over for a trial on 3 counts of rape by force or fear, and he surrender his passport at his next arraignment, which was set for June 7th, 2021. On June 7th, 2021, Masterson pleaded not guilty to rape accusations alleged to have occurred between 2001 and 2003. His defense attorney accused the 3 women of colluding against Masterson, claiming that they were in contact with each other. His defense attorney also stated that one of the Jane Does had obtained money from Masterson in 2004. After the June 7th arraignment, Masterson remained free on a $3.3 million bail. The trial began on October 11th, 2022. There were a few key differences about the first and the second trial, and I'll explain those in just a minute. Masterson decided not to testify nor call witnesses to his defense. Both parties rested their cases on November 14th, 2022, and made their closing arguments the following day. The jury deadlocked after 3 days in deliberation. Instead of declaring a mistrial, the judge ordered the jury to resume deliberation the week after Thanksgiving. The jury remained deadlocked once deliberations resumed. Consequently, a mistrial was declared on November 30th, 2022. The jury foreperson said that the panel of 6 men and 6 women leaned towards acquitting Masterson on all counts because they found the testimonies of the complainants inconsistent. Most legal experts and people who followed the trial closely agree that the reason the jury became deadlocked was due to 2 key elements that were kept from the jury and the courtroom. One was the drugging of the 3 victims. That was not allowed to be mentioned in the first trial. And neither was Scientology, specifically the Scientology reports. Considering all 3 victims were members of the Church of Scientology, and due to Scientology's strict law of not involving the real-world authorities in Scientologist crime, the jury in the first trial were not shown that the victim reported the attacks to Scientology higher-ups over 20 years ago. This matter was allowed in the second trial, and the drugging was actually also allowed because the defense themselves opened that door during testimony. So we are going to discuss the trial now. Just 2 quick things going into the trial chapter that you need to know. There's 2 words on the screen, and I will be referring to those words as their initials, the R word and SA. This is just to do with YouTube. I'm sure people have heard this before. It affects the monetization, but also how the video is pushed out. If a video is not monetized, it is not put into YouTube and pushed out the same way, because YouTube looks at the video and thinks, well, I'm not going to make any money out of this, so why should I push it out when this video I am going to make money on it? And if you want to see how true that is, look at my video about the Duggars, because I didn't monetize those so I could speak freely. This is when I knew a lot less than I know now, and unfortunately this is just the way YouTube works. Because I've taken multi-month-long courses with people like Paddy Galloway, who is all-knowing about YouTube, just was in Forbes, worked for Mr. Beast, and that's just the way the algorithm works. One thing I will say is, though, I do not do sponsorships on my channel. For me and my channel, that's just not something I want to do. I think it affects the viewers' time. I want to put time. I don't stuff like sell you on and whatever too. Was something that happened between the two trials, and it was about the first trial. I didn't see this reported nearly anywhere, or well, actually nowhere in the mainstream media. The only person I...
Dude, she's got the full board in the background like she's working Pepe Sylvia. Well, the smell going to Pepe Sylvia. Pepe Sylvia. Like, where's her cigarettes?
saw really talking about this
Coffee
was
cups everywhere.
Aaron Smith-Levin, who runs the channel Growing Up in Scientology. A lot of the information in my video I have got from Aaron's videos, because he actually went to the trial and was there every day, and there was only 3 people that were in the court every day. So it was really difficult to get kind of a blow-by-blow of what went on in court, because there was so few people that actually attended every day. But Aaron actually broke a story about the jury foreman in the first trial, who he had actually lied to get on the jury. And not only was he a former police officer that he didn't tell the court about, but he also had a son who was convicted of something very, very similar to Danny Masterson. It just, his crimes weren't against women, they were against children. And I'm sure that was a factor, given that he was the foreman as well, that severely affected the first trial. But we're going to discuss the second trial now, and after the trial section, we'll go into the sentencing, but also discussing the letters and everything that happened on social media with people like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. So the trial involved 3 accusers, 3 victims, and each of them was known by Jane Doe. So there was Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2, Jane Doe 3, and this is to do with Marion's Law in California, where they don't put the names of the victims. All of the 3 women have identified themselves in the media. One of them, Chrissy Bixler, who was Jane Doe 3, she was Danny Masterson's girlfriend for about 6 years, nearly the entire run of that 70s show, and she has always been open about who she was and which Jane Doe she was. She even was the one who did the interview with Leah Remini back in 2017. The other Jane Does are known as Jen B and Nisha. So if you hear me say Jen, Nisha, Chrissy, that's each of the Jane Does, and it's obviously all okay that their names are known and it's known which Jane Doe they were. Everything like that is completely open now. While there were 3 Jane Does who were actually the victims, accusers in this case, there were other women who were witnesses and referenced in this trial. And after the trial and during the trial, actually, there was a lot more women that came forward and said they were victims of Danny Masterson.
Damn.
These are only women we know about. So I'm sure there are other women out there based on the statistics of how underreported SA crimes are. And at the time of this recording, there were approximately 17 known victims of Danny Masterson.
Wow.
So we're going to go through each of the women's stories, and I'll go through them the order that they went in trial, which is Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 3, Jane Doe 2. And we'll go through basically the outline of their stories and a little
Crazy.
of what happened in court, and then just anything else that is deemed relevant. One thing about Masterson is he seems to be incredibly arrogant, because anytime that he was going to the courthouse, I mean, there's multiple pictures on here, and I'll put them on the screen too, where he was arriving at the courthouse and posting on Instagram as if it was some, you know, check-in at a restaurant or something. He was even tagging the courthouse, certainly not giving the situation the respect it deserved. Jane Doe 1 accused Masterson of SA and the R word in 2002 during their first sexual encounter. After that happened, she went to her superiors at the Church of Scientology, and she went in and basically told them what happened. She was sent into an ethics program, as Scientology believes that you are not a victim, that anything that happens to you is your fault. So they were basically saying, this happened to you, so you must have brought it on in some way, because there's no such thing as being a victim in Scientology. The Church of Scientology ethics officer afterwards told Jane Doe 1 to make peace with what happened, and made her complete an ethics program where she was taught she was responsible for the alleged crimes. There's a quote from Jane Doe 1 that says, "My understanding my entire life was that you can never be a victim. No matter what condition you find yourself in life, no matter how horrible, you are responsible. You created that." Jane Doe 1 also testified that Masterson raped her at the end of April 2003. Jane Doe 1 said she went over to her friend Bree Schaefer's house, and Bree Schaefer was actually Danny Masterson's assistant. You will hear about her a little bit later, as Danny has been using her to allegedly try and shield assets. She is also the wife of actor Michael Pena. Jane Doe 1 was friends with Bree. She went over to her house about 5 o'clock, and later that evening is when Masterson drugged and raped her. Masterson allegedly put something in Jane Doe's drink and then threw her in the jacuzzi. This is when Jane Doe 1 said that all she remembers is feeling extremely nauseous, and she was kind of blacking out and also just feeling really, really ill. Masterson carried Jane Doe 1 up the stairs. He put his fingers down her throat and made her vomit. She then was put in the shower by Masterson, who began touching her even though she was saying no. He then brought her into the bedroom when he put her on the bed, and she says she passed out. Then she woke up to the actor on top of her, and that's when he was raping her. She tried to struggle away from him, and that's when he went to his nightstand and pulled out a gun. She definitely doesn't say the R word or... So why not go straight to the police? Well, as I said, Jane Doe 1 was a Scientologist. She was born in Scientology, raised in Scientology. Her whole family was Scientologists, and any ex-Scientologists I know or have even seen on YouTube or something like that, they all say that Scientologists on Scientologist crime should not go into the WOG world, which is the real world. They should not be going to the police and reporting things. Any Scientology on Scientology crime should be dealt with by Scientology. So
I gave myself away
and reported Masterson
bumped my
to
leg
ethics
shooting
officer, as she should. She told her mother. Her mother even wrote to David Miscavige and tried to get Masterson dealt with within Scientology. But Jane Doe 1 was getting nowhere, and even though she knew that this would cause her entire family to disown her, she would have to leave her life, leave her job. She was in her late 20s, and she would lose everything if she did this. But despite all of that, she went to the police, because she heard about another victim, and she couldn't stand by and let this happen to yet another person.
Not the explosion, but by hitting them with it.
To the LAPD.
That's
a quote
great.
from Jane Doe 1 is as follows. Then one day in May 2004, I'm not going to say specifics. I'll say I was told about a girl named Lily, and it shook me to my core. And I had to say her name because that's what I was told. And that's what I decided to take a step that would destroy my life. I knew Danny wouldn't stop. couldn't stop. I reported my rape to the LAPD in June of 2004, but before that, there was a meeting I had to attend with my rapist. As Danny demanded in April 2004, I was forced by Scientology executive Kirsten Catano to sit across from him in a meeting at a conference table where he claimed he would apologize and make a promise to never repeat such a crime on any woman if he could hear me describe in detail how awful and violent the assault had been for me. I naively believed in the possibility of redemption, and I agreed to speak about the whole ordeal. However, it soon became clear this wasn't real. The defendant, along with his friend Luke Watson, turned the meeting into a mockery. They laughed and treated the situation as a big joke, showing no genuine remorse with no intention to change. The meeting ended with Jane Doe being pressured into signing a non-disclosure agreement and a confidential settlement agreement for $400,000, despite Jane Doe not asking for anything aside from Masterson not doing this again. A lot of ex-Scientologists have talked about how this payment is proof of Masterson's guilt because the Scientology Ethics Committee investigated everything that happened after Jane Doe went to them, and they never ever would have made a Scientologist, never mind a celebrity Scientologist who's the highest of the high, pay another Scientologist if they 100% didn't do what they were accused of doing. And obviously they had this meeting and it was being spoken about openly too. Jane Doe 1 even went through another ordeal with Masterson when he attempted to come at her through her 9-year-old daughter. Danny Masterson ended up going...
What was that accent shift? It was almost like she went from British to Boston.
Another ordeal with Masterson when he attempted to come at her through her 9-year-old daughter. Danny Masterson ended up going to a friend of his whose son was in the same class as Jane Doe 1's daughter. The kids were selling...
and then she went back to British again. Like, is this a fake accent? Bro, I think she's doing an accent. Because she went from, like, British to Maine in like 2.5 seconds and then went right back saying the same word. Daughter
was in the same class as Jane Doe 1's daughter. The kids were selling candy bars, and Masterson ended up purchasing all of the candy bars for a couple of $100 and told the kid, I'll buy all your candy bars if you tell this little 9-year-old girl something. And the something was, tell her mummy's a liar and that Danny Masterson didn't rape her.
Wow.
Of course, her 9-year-old daughter went home and didn't even know what that word meant. This all combined with learning there was another victim, and that's why she gave up her entire life and reported him to the LAPD. On top of the settlement, all the reporting to Scientology and the LAPD, Danny Masterson also put aside a small amount of money so that Jane Doe's daughter, the 9-year-old, could get some Scientology help, training, auditing, so that she could recover from this incident that Danny had inflicted on her. And that was set aside specifically in relation to what he said and everything that happened with Jane Doe 1. When Jane Doe 1 reported her attack to the LAPD, they decided not to pursue charges, which is not uncommon at all. So Jane Doe 1 lost everything. She had to move, start her life over. She had to find a new job, take her kids out of school, and her parents were only allowed to speak to her still because they had donated millions and millions to Scientology. But when everything started happening with the trial in the real world, Jane Doe's mom stopped speaking to her because she didn't want Masterson to be held accountable if it meant Scientology was being exposed and brought up in the media. So Jane Doe 1's mother still to this day does not speak to her, even though she wants Masterson held accountable. She wants him held accountable within Scientology. Another quote from Jane Doe 1 in regards to Danny's circle of friends. Testifying in court was not easy. From day one of his appearance in September 2020, he packed the halls with neighbors and so many people who covered for him. There was a South African man who assaulted me when I was a teen training in Scientology headquarters in Florida. He came to court despite my protests and he was aware of him. He did what he could to intimidate and harass me. And there was intimidation from the defendant's sister, Alana Masterson, in the bathroom. Jane Doe 1 also said that she fears retaliation from the Church of Scientology and she's worried about her 3 children and all of the harassment that she's received, and that's why they are also suing and having a civil case, which we'll talk about in the final chapter. Jane Doe 3, Chrissy Bixler, Masterson's former girlfriend, has told the court Masterson was both physically and emotionally abusive. Recalling a night,
how did I not get away from it? Where did it land?
Chrissy B testified that she screamed at Masterson to get off me when she woke up to him assaulting her in 2001. She told jurors she met the actor in 1996 when she was an 18-year-old model who had just moved to LA. Chrissy converted to Scientology from Masterson, and a year into their relationship, she claimed he became sexually aggressive and physically and emotionally abusive, explaining it was normal to wake up to him having sex with her and alleging that the actor once dragged her across the floor by her hair when she refused to sleep with him. Chrissy also spoke.
Bro, like, what is going on? Like, this dude is okay with just doing all this stuff, like, oh, she's asleep, I don't give a fuck. Going at it. Gonna do it. What is wrong with you, dude? Like, dragging her by her hair, like, dude, there's so many layers of abuse. It is so sick, dude. Now I understand why she said monster. Dude, that's redonkulous. Sure did. Dude, also, while it's paused, is it just me or does his arms look funky? I don't know if it's because of my, like, field of view. I think I'm at, like, 100 or something. 110 maybe. Ugh. So I don't know if that's, like, changing the look. No, it ain't. Let's go.
Hardpoint relocated. Secure the target area.
Oh, come on. I had him.
Spoke about the terror campaign the Church of Scientology subjected her to. As she was taught to do, Chrissy went to the Church of Scientology in 2001, but she was told that it wasn't possible to rape a girlfriend, and it was her job to give Masterson whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted.
That's insane.
She was also told by the ethics
that
officer
is insane.
no crime was committed. Chrissy reported Masterson to the LAPD in 2016. Masterson's defense team again tried to point out inconsistencies between Chrissy B's police interview and the testimony. The Church of Scientology told multiple media outlets that Chrissy B's allegations are categorically untrue. Jane Doe 2 was the final victim to testify, and she described a very, very similar incident to what happened to Jane Doe 1. She talked about going over to Masterson's house in 2003 and him giving her a glass of wine. She said that after the glass of wine, she went into the jacuzzi with him and started to feel very heavy and numb. Masterson then began kissing her, and she told him, "We're not going to sleep together." Just like Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2 was put in the shower,
Let's go.
and that's when Masterson raped her. He then took her into the bedroom and she was pleading with him not to do this, and then Masterson carried on raping her. She said that he was being so violent with her and so rough that she felt like a rag doll, and she was doing everything she could not to vomit. Jane Doe 2, just like Jane Doe 1 and 3, was a Scientologist at the time of the attack. She said Masterson was more important than her in the church, prompting her to recontextualize what had happened. She feared the consequences of reporting it to the church, which she said had discouraged her from reporting a previous from an ex-boyfriend. "I was gaslighting myself," she said, comparing Masterson to a predator and stating that she understood it was rape when she finally left the church. A quote from Jane Doe 2, "As an adult woman, you have plenty of time to see these distinctions between someone having affinity for you and someone targeting you as a piece of meat." I could go over examples like this for each of the Jane Does, but I don't want to make this video 5 hours long, so I'm going to use Jane Doe 2 as an example of some of the other evidence and verifications that they used, because yes, they all reported it to Scientology. There's those reports from 20 years ago, and even Jane Doe 1 went to the LAPD in 2004. Jane Doe 2 even brought in 4 witnesses who all said, yes, back in 2003, she told me this happened. And somebody I'm sure is going to say, oh, well, maybe it's her friends or family. Maybe they're lying too. The web that you would have to create for all of these people to orchestrate all of them lying for 20 years about something that happened all that time ago, when they didn't even know that they were going to get to go to trial, because individually each of the charges, it's beyond the statute of limitations, right? So the only reason that they are able to try this is if they try all 3 of them together, because all 3 of them together could end up with a life sentence, and anything that has a life sentence doesn't have a statute of limitations. So in order for Danny Masterson to go to prison, he has to not only be found guilty on one of the charges, he has to be found guilty on at least 2. So if the jury was to come back and say, oh, he's only guilty on Jane Doe 1 because she's the only one that went to the police, way back 20 years ago, then he doesn't go to prison. So there has to be at least 2 of these 3 that end up in a guilty verdict. And again,
how did I not get that kill?
Have 12 people sit and hear all this evidence, and those 12 people have to unanimously decide. So not only once do they have to unanimously decide that yes, this is what occurred, they have to decide twice. So it's 24 votes. So again, I'm gonna go back now and talk about Jane Doe 2's witnesses, because even that whole, oh, her family and friends, they could lie for her. Actually, one of the people she brought forward absolutely hates her guts. So it's still actually crazy that this person is doing it, because nobody really knows why, because it's well known that they absolutely can't stand Jane Doe 2, and they've had a huge falling out. So it's very interesting that she still is willing to testify in court over this. Also, I think if you're trying to think like the jury, you could say, oh, well, maybe all these people that they're using as witnesses, a lot of them are ex-Scientologists. Maybe they all have an axe to grind with Scientology. But again, one of Jane Doe's witnesses kind of answers this, because one of the people that Jane Doe brought in as a witness who said, yes, she told me about this back in 2003, this person was not a Scientologist. They've never been a Scientologist. They've never had any experience with Scientology. So it was interesting interesting because pretty much everybody else involved in this trial was at one time a Scientologist or still is a Scientologist. So the person who really dislikes Jane Doe 2 but still testified that yes, she told me this back in 2003. This woman is actually the ex-wife of Giovanni Ribisi, who I'm sure most people know him. He was in Avatar, he was in Sneaky Pete, Friends, he's been in loads of stuff. And he is a Scientologist. He's also very good friends with Danny Masterson.
Everybody seems to be a
He has been friends with him
Scientologist.
since they were kids, and Giovanni Ribisi also wrote a letter on behalf of Danny Masterson, which I will talk much more about in chapter 5.
What she was there to testify to was, yes, Jane Doe 2 really did tell me these things at the time when they happened, and I'm here to say what she said. If you are on that jury, there are 4 witnesses for Jane Doe 2. So again, today it was friend Rachel, Scientologist, Jordan Ladd, not a Scientologist. Tomorrow we're going to hear from her mom, former Scientologist, never really was. It's a weird one. I'll get into it more tomorrow. And then ex-wife of Giovanni Ribisi, Scientologist Mariah O'Brien. Now, even though Mariah is not a friend of Jane Doe 2, may or may not still be a Scientologist, I'm not totally sure, she is still going to come and testify that, yeah, we had a dinner. Jane Doe 2 was over at my house. She blurted out this thing that she said Danny had done this to her. And then I basically disconnected from her as a result. 4 witnesses who are going to testify that Jane Doe 2, at the time when this occurred, told me that this had occurred. How as a jury member could you possibly have any reasonable doubt that what Jane Doe 2 is testifying to really occurred when she told all these people?
So after all of the accusations, after all the Jane Does took the stand, all the witnesses, everybody else that was involved, there was Claire Headley, who was an expert witness for Scientology. She took the stand over the course of a day to explain a lot of the Scientology speak to the jury because, again, all 3 of them reported this to Scientology. So they had a lot of Scientology speak in the reports, and Claire was also able to explain to them about the fact that they would never want, like a Scientologist would never want things to be taken into the real world, and that's why all of the women didn't immediately just go to the police. That's why they first went to, the Scientology ethics people. Another expert witness they had went over all of the statistics and all of the myths around SA and
that
what
really
victims
just
are
happened.
really likely to do, as opposed to what culturally
Are we really doing
people
this right
think
now?
happens when something
Am I
like
putting
that
up
goes
numbers
down,
right now?
and also how a lot of women
Put some respect on my name!
will try and rationalize it, and how they are much more likely to see their abuser again.
Let's go, 43.
Because that is, they're trying to rationalize it, and there's just a lot of other things that really, it's not
I spent
as
the least
cut and
amount of
dry
time.
as you are attacked in this way and you immediately go to the police. They are immediately charged and immediately held accountable because there's so many cases.
43 and 19 numbers.
I mean, look on the internet, even ones with YouTubers, influencers, actors, they are very, very rarely held accountable. And that goes for everyday people too. It is extremely underreported, and the RAINN statistics, which I will put on the
I guess she does
screen,
make a good
which
point there.
obviously all numbers, we have to look at how they got them, where they got them. These are a few years old, but you can generally get an idea from it how underreported and absolutely how unlikely it is for false reporting, and how unlikely it is for an actual person who commits SA to go to prison, because it is very, very unlikely for that to happen. In the first trial, there was another victim named Trisha V who testified about also being raped by Danny Masterson. Trisha V did not testify in the second trial. Another woman, however, did. Her name was Kathleen, and she was from Canada.
So Kathleen, we're just going to call her Kathleen J, because that's how she's identified herself in court. Kathleen J is the woman who was raped by Danny Masterson in 2000 at a wrap party for a movie in Toronto, Canada. I will not go through the details of her testimony. It was powerful. I'm pretty sure I saw the judge wiping away tears. I know I was. It was devastating testimony.
When she was working on a movie in Toronto, she went to the wrap party and was invited to another wrap party that was going on in the same hotel. This wrap party was for Dracula 2000. Danny Masterson was at that party as he was in Dracula 2000. That night, Kathleen was raped by Danny Masterson.
Here's the next part of the testimony that I highlighted. By the time you left the hotel, did you know that you had been raped by Danny Masterson? And she said, well, I didn't leave the hotel that night. And there was some back and forth between her and Philip. It's like, yeah, but by the time you left the hotel, did you know that you'd been raped by Danny Masterson? And she goes, well, yes, but I did not know his last name and I did not know who he was.
But at the time, she had no idea who Danny Masterson was. She didn't even know his last name. All she knew was that she was raped by someone named Danny.
All she knew was that she went to a rap party for a different movie. She was then invited to an after party for Dracula 2000, and she happened to meet this guy named Danny who raped her.
Years later, she was sent a copy of the movie on DVD, and when she watched Dracula 2000, she saw the man who raped her. Down the road, she had a private phone call with Scientology reporter Tony Ortega, who then published her story without her permission.
But it became evident at this point in the testimony that the article Tony Ortega published about his phone conversation with Kathleen that he had with her about the attack was published without her consent and without her permission.
Kathleen then went to the police over the incident. After her story being put out in the media and going to the police, she was then asked to testify in the second trial. She took to the stand and told the jury about the night in Toronto when Masterson attacked her. This was a very, very tough chapter to get through, so we are going to go on and speak about the victim impact statements next chapter, and then chapter 5 we are going to go into the sentencing and also all of the letters and a big section on Ashton and Mila and what ended up happening with them and the backlash they received for not only their letters but for their horrendous apology video.
I'm always switching bags.
When it came to the end of the trial, after the closing arguments, the jury then went into deliberation. Unlike my last video, which discussed the Murdaugh murder trial, this case had a much longer deliberation and it went on for over 6 days. Something that is very important to mention here is that in order for Danny Masterson to go to prison, the jury had to unanimously find him guilty on at least 2 of the 3 charges. So not only did they have to return 12 votes for guilty, they had to return 24 votes as each of the cases was looked at differently. So all 3 cases were reviewed separately, and if the jury returned just 1 guilty verdict, he would have got off. And it's also very important to know that the jury didn't know this going into deliberation. They didn't know that if they came back with just 1 guilty verdict, that this basically would have been for nothing. The jury unanimously agreed on 2 of the cases, Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2. The third charge for Danny Masterson's former girlfriend, Chrissy Bixler, was deadlocked and the jury could not agree, but the final vote was 8-4 in favor of conviction. As I mentioned earlier, he did have to be found guilty on 2 counts, and because that parameter was satisfied, then the only thing left to do was to sentence him for his crimes. When they returned to court for the sentencing in September 2023, the judge actually allowed the 3 victims to read impact statements before she announced what Danny Masterson's sentence was going to be. I want to share some small segments from the impact statements because they are very powerful, and I have linked the entire statements in the sources below. As most regular viewers will know, I always list all my sources in the pinned comments, and there may actually start to be a Google Doc because, especially this case, there was a lot of sources needed. Again, I really implore you to read these if you have the time. We're going to go in descending order, so to start with Jane Doe 3, Chrissy Bixler. The judge very kindly allowed Jane Doe 3 to read her impact statement because she actually wasn't entitled to, because her count was hung.
Let me throw it
Some
back.
trials when this has happened, like recently with Harvey Weinstein, they actually didn't allow any of his victims who a mistrial was declared to read their statements. Jane Doe 3's statement speaks about her 6-year relationship with Masterson and the cycle of abuse that she endured. She spoke about Masterson asking her to tell him very detailed accounts of the trauma she had been through in her life. Scientology calls this finding someone's ruins. Once Danny Masterson found these ruins, she was trapped in the relationship with him, and he would reenact all of the traumatic experiences. Jane Doe 2, in her impact statement, she spoke about how she came forward about a year before the Me Too movement and how she found out there were other victims. She spoke about Danny's DJ name, DJ Donkey Punch, which, if you don't know what that is, it's just another thing that was very reminiscent of his crimes.
Speaking of which, I mentioned the donkey punch. How does that become your DJ name? Just because you can't believe people are going to have to say it?
Yeah, just because it was like, oh, I wonder if we can get this in the New York Times, and we did. And it was just, I started DJing in 97, 98, and
right.
you know, like DJ Danny Masterson, that's not good. So you sort of all come up with something that's kind of funny.
Right.
And mine was DJ Donkey Punch, which is a great name. This is also kind of like before the world of the internet, and with the Facebooks and the Twitter, the whole thing, where everybody knows what everything means.
Right.
So for years, you know, it'd be like, and Danny Masterson, aka DJ Donkey Punch, you know, playing, you know, this isn't like.
And if you need more specifics, I would say look it up, but make sure when you look it up, you're looking it up on incognito mode for sure. And Jane Doe 2 spoke a lot about the 7 years that she was terrorized and harassed by Scientology and how her privacy was invaded. This is basically the past 7 years that investigation and trial has been going on. I do want to read a short quote from Jane Doe 2's letter. Obviously, all 3 statements were incredibly powerful, but this section in particular just was very well written. Jane Doe 2 said, "When you raped me, you stole from me. This is what rape is, a theft of spirit. You disfigured my life. You stole some crucial pieces of my self-worth and lessened my capacity for joy. You made every part of me turn on myself. Worst of all, for so many years after the rape, deformed my ability to trust others and to discern danger or goodness appropriately. Since life was now in the prism of hatred, shame, and fear, you forced me into that night, and you were someone in my community who I peripherally knew, that my close friends vouched for. Danny is such a great guy," they said. "The stolen trust part is the most crippling, because now my internal gauge was broken." A little bit later in the statement, she says, "You relish in hurting women. It is your addiction. It is, without question, your favorite thing to do. You've lived your life behind a mask as 2 people, but the real one sits here now for its reckoning. It never once dawned on you that you'd be held accountable. You've glided easily through your life as a depraved criminal without consequence for so long that you thought not only did the law not apply to you, but that karma had no eye on you either." And finally, Jane Doe 1's statement. As discussed in the trial chapter 20 years ago, Jane Doe 1, Jen B, did report her attack to Scientology and then to the police when she learned of another victim. Jen B explains in detail what happened when she reported Masterson to Scientology shortly after the attack, and also how awful Masterson was when Scientology was investigating the incident. She goes into detail about Scientology getting Masterson to pay her $400,000 to settle the issue and prevent her from speaking out, essentially buying her silence. Because as many
How
former
did I not kill
Scientologists have
him?
stated, Scientology was protecting itself. Scientology clearly confirmed that what Gen B stated Danny Masterson did happen, because according to over a dozen former Scientologists, there is no way they would have made Masterson, a celebrity in high standing with Scientology, pay $400,000 to another Scientologist who had made these claims. They would only do so if they were true, if their investigation revealed that that's what happened. She also discussed losing her family and how her life was destroyed. Masterson involved her 9-year-old daughter, which we discussed earlier, and he also put aside some money for her daughter to get help via Scientology because of how his actions affected the child. Jane Doe 1 was also very good friends with Lisa Marie Presley, and she told Lisa about the attack back after it happened. Masterson actually threatened Jane Doe 1 and told her, "You're not going to tell Lisa about this," as Lisa Marie Presley was of course a famous Scientologist and the daughter of Elvis and Priscilla Presley. Lisa Marie was born into Scientology as her mum joined Scientology.
I didn't realize so many people were in Scientology.
Lisa Marie
This is
left
insane.
Scientology in 2014, although since 2008 she had been experiencing growing discontent with Scientology. Lisa Marie Presley was going to testify in the trial on behalf of Jane Doe 1, but sadly passed away before she could. After being found guilty, Danny Masterson was immediately handcuffed and remanded into custody. His family went straight to work in getting letters for Masterson and to try and sway the judge into leniency. They were trying to sway the judge into letting Danny serve his 2 sentences concurrently, which would mean if he was sentenced to 15 years for each, he would serve the sentences at the same time, and he would get out in 15 years. The alternative is to run the sentences consecutively, and Masterson would serve one 15-year sentence followed by another 15-year sentence, making his sentence 30 years behind bars for both guilty verdicts. But much more on this later, because a lot of people have been falsely reporting what his sentence ended up being. Sought out prominent Scientologists and other celebrities. In the end, over 50 letters were sent to the judge, filled with glowing statements about Masterson. These letters were written by all of Danny's siblings, Chris, Jordan, Alana, and Will, but there are many other celebrities who wrote letters. One quick thing before we get into the Ashton and Mila of the whole thing is I wanted to briefly mention here Danny Masterson's brother Chris, as I wasn't quite sure where else to put it, but Chris Masterson also has a terrible reputation in Hollywood, and there's a lot of stories that circulate about him and how he treats women, especially in his relationship with Danny's co-star Laura Prepon, who, as we know, ended up converting to Scientology, but she has actually ended up leaving Scientology. She did an interview in 2019 that she had left over 5 years ago, but there's always been a lot of rumors about Chris just treating Laura awfully. Of the people who wrote letters, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were absolutely the most famous, but there was also letters written by Deborah Jo Rupp and Kurtwood Smith, who were 2 actors from That 70s Show who played Mr. and Mrs. Foreman. Giovanni Ribisi, who was in Avatar, he also has known Danny since he was a child. He wrote a letter. Billy Baldwin, whose wife is sisters with Bijou Phillips, Danny Masterson's wife, he wrote a letter. I do also believe that there was another actor that wrote a letter, but when there was some backlash recently for another trial about celebrities writing letters, I believe this actor pulled his letter out, and I will explain why. But this actor is Ethan Suplee. Danny Masterson has quite a relationship with him, and he's always getting him into projects because he's someone that Danny wants to put in a lot of shows and things like that. Like when he was on The Ranch and Danny got fired from The Ranch, he wanted Ethan Suplee to stay on as he was able to still recruit for Scientology.
Fellas, hey, there. Oh, so wherever you are. Heard it in the police chase.
Oh, shit. No, fuck this. You're taking me
Changing
too.
mags.
Yeah, you're taking me too.
I mean, I guess I can. They don't really care who goes in that direction.
Ethan Suplee was in My Name is Earl and Varsity Blues is probably what most people would know him from. It seems obvious that he originally penned a letter because there's court documents that actually have small excerpts of his letter. They're just little quotes from them. And then whenever you go to the actual packet that contains all the letters, there is no letter from Ethan Suplee. So it seems as though either last minute or maybe he found out the letters were going to be released, or he asked his lawyer about it and he ended up pulling his letter. It seems as though when Danny Masterson's lawyers went to people to ask them to write these letters, they had originally requested that the judge enter these letters under seal, which is what they probably told people, which means the public would never have been able to see the letters, but the judge refused to enter them under seal. So when Danny Masterson's lawyer and Masterson were obtaining the letters, they were likely telling people, oh, don't worry, we're entering it under seal, not knowing that the judge was going to deny that. And obviously most people took their word for it, which is wild that they didn't check with their own lawyers or PR people. And it's especially wild that people like Ashton and Mila didn't check with their own lawyers and PR people, because people like Ashton and Mila, they have so many lawyers and PR people that are working for them already. So it's just wild that they wouldn't have even sent an email or had a meeting and asked them about sending the letters and if they were going to come out.
But Danny and his friends and his family and the Scientologists have a lot of blackmail on Ashton. And I'm not even, I can't sit before you and say, oh, they threatened him. I don't think they threatened him. Ashton is two peas in a pod with Danny. And I gotta say, in a vacuum, I agree with you. You can't really blame a guy for wanting to, help throw his friend a little bit of a bone. But that's in a vacuum. If I'm Ashton Kutcher, I'm like, come on. You think me writing a nice letter to the judge is gonna have an impact? I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. The problem is the attorneys, to the best of my understanding and to the best of my knowledge, the attorneys basically gave all these people false confidence that their letters would never see the light of day. And honestly, if I'm Ashton and I think that's true, okay, fine, I might send a letter. If one of my best friend's family is begging me to do it and I think it's never gonna see the light of day, I might do it. But I don't know, man. It's like, that is rolling the dice. Like, you really think this letter's never going to see the light of day. But here's how I know that they thought that. I was in the courtroom for the sentence, and the judge basically gave a little speech to the defense attorneys. It's like, I received your motion, filed it under seal, but we're not accepting it under seal. I've already told you, almost nothing in my courtroom, barred for some personal safety reasons. And so for the attorneys to file it under seal like that means they told everyone that's what was going to happen, and everyone's like, oh great, it'll never see the light of day.
If you'd like to read the entire letter that Mila and Ashton wrote, they wrote one each individually, then I've linked them down below, and I definitely recommend you read them just to get an idea of what they said. But we're going to discuss those letters a lot more after I discuss the sentencing, because the sentencing happened and then obviously the letters were released to the public, and that's when everything went crazy for Ashton and Mila. But we will discuss Ashton and Mila a lot after the sentencing. Despite all the letter writing, Danny Masterson was sentenced to life in prison with no eligibility for parole for 30 years. A lot of people have been reporting this sentence as 30 years, but it's only when he becomes eligible for parole. There's no guarantee that he will get it. So he technically got 15 years without parole to life for both Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2. The letters were hoping the sentence again would run consecutively rather than concurrently. So if he gets paroled, the first time he will ever be eligible, he will be in his 70s. That's best case scenario. But he could go and ask to be paroled and be denied 15 times, and he could never get out of prison, but he can't even ask for 30 years. When the letters were released, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis took an absolute battering on social media. A key point I don't see mentioned a lot is the fact that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote these letters after Danny Masterson had been found guilty. Most people, including a number of ex-Scientologists, have said that Ashton Kutcher especially probably wrote these letters because of how much dirt Scientology has on him. Both Mila and Ashton threw their reputations away when these letters were released, as they have constantly claimed to be on the side of victims, when these letters showed they were the absolute opposite of what they were claiming. The words chosen in these letters, especially by Ashton, are so carefully chosen to try and contradict the victims' stories. They made constant reference to Danny being so against drugs and being around anyone that did drugs, whenever that is one of the things he was accused of, was drugging his victims.
And probably someone on the Scientology side of the team put together a framework for what notes everyone should be hitting in their letters. And that's why almost all the letters talk about Danny was so against drugs. Danny was so against drugs. It's a weird thing to be mentioned in 50 letters.
Yeah, it was very repetitive at times. It was.
And the problem with mentioning that, and, you know, because in Ashton's video, he's like, it wasn't meant to undermine the testimony of the Jane Does. I'm sorry, part of the entire case is that Danny drugged all these women. And you're going to write a letter, Danny hated drugs. Danny didn't even want to be friends with people who took drugs. That's a total lie. Jimmy DeBello was one of Ashton and Danny's closest friends, who's an absolute out of his mind cokehead all the time. Like the fact that he wouldn't even associate with people who took drugs is not true. Mila Kunis herself, when she was with Macaulay Culkin, was on a mountain of drugs. I've heard so many stories from people who were at parties at Marilyn Manson's house and this place. I mean, insane. So you have Mila, who herself has been a close friend of Danny for 20 plus years or whatever, who's taken tons of drugs, being, oh, Danny would never associate with anyone who took drugs. Like, they're lying in their letters. And I think that's one of the reasons he's taking so much flack, is it was so over the top. It was so over the top and stacked with lies. Yeah.
Mila and Ashton also know all of the women, especially Ashton. He has had close relationships with the women, especially Chrissy Bixler, who he knew extremely well. And it's been reported upon that when Ashton Kutcher found out about the accusations against Masterson, particularly the Chrissy Bixler one, that Ashton's response was, "That bitch." After the backlash on social media, Ashton and Mila released a response in the form of a video, and I'm sure anyone who watches The Boys found this quite comical. Last season, Ashton and Mila were in an episode of The Boys and played themselves in a spoof of celebrities all singing Imagine on social media and just kind of taking the piss out of celebrities.
I thought I got a kill with that blind throw for a second.
And yet here they find themselves in idiocy online for their own terrible actions. Ashton and Mila picked the exact same spot in their house to shoot the apology video that they shot the little recorded video for The Boys, which probably was the only location in their house that didn't show off their enormous mansion.
So he's basically in jail for life. But he can potentially go on parole in about 15 years, for 15, 30 years. So at least that, like, for the most part, it sounds like he's not going to see the light of day. Hopefully. Bro, but that's so crazy to me. I've had enough of this video though. So my peoples, I'm gonna take a quick break, potty break / I'm gonna grab a drink. So I'm gonna be right back, and we'll get back into it some more, and we'll see you. Wicked duckies. Thank you for that brief pause. We are back. I'm gonna cut this video that we're watching. I don't think we need to finish out anymore. It's just talking about more like the aftermath stuff. So we're gonna move on. Saw another one here by our good friend Skeet. Good friend Skeet. He is a humanitarian. Let's just call him that. He is out there getting monsters off of the streets. So I like watching his videos because, one, it's eye-opening to see what these people are capable of. But two, it's a little entertaining because he does do some funny stuff. For instance, this one is titled Playing a Pred in Mortal Kombat 1. If he loses, I call the cops. That's a little funny. I'm not gonna lie. Can you imagine like Chris Hansen just like, all right, he does his interviews and he's like, at the end of it, he's like, you can get out, but you want to play a game first? That'd be wicked. All right, so let's see what's going on with this craziness.
We're waiting for our potential predator here. He goes by the name Big Herm.
Big Herm.
Now he claims he's from Florida. He's a Florida boy, he says, and he thinks he's showing up here tonight to meet who he thinks is, you know, a girl. Now he did talk and talk about how he wants to quote unquote pipe out this girl.
What?
And he also said that he wants to raw dog it.
Wow.
You know, his words exactly from his mouth. And
on video.
On video. We got that recorded on the phone call. Now his plan is to come over here and do these things, but before he does it, he's going to play the girl in some Mortal Kombat. As you can see, we have the setup here. We've got Mortal Kombat 1 loaded up and ready to go. So we're going to be in the other room while he's playing the game with who he thinks is a girl. And I'm going to come out and have a few words with him. And before we let him go, we're going to give him a choice. He's going to be able to play me in a 1st to 3 Mortal Kombat. And if he wins, he gets to walk away scot-free. And if he loses, then, you know, unfortunately, we're going to have to get the authorities involved because this is legal activity.
Wicked.
So we're going to see
wicked.
where this goes and see if Big Herm has what it takes to take me on in Mortal Kombat. He talks a big game. He says he's pretty good. He says he's gonna, you know, kick the ass in the game. So we'll see if he can do the same thing to me. Stay tuned.
Oof. You thought I forgot about you, huh?
I did.
Oh my lord.
Really like, well, I had a feeling this might happen.
Yo, Muff.
Just starting off cringe, man.
About earlier, man. I really was so tired. I don't even, but I really see that we've been talking and that you sent me. That's your main one.
That's my house, yeah.
Don't come out until I call you, though. For me.
Don't do what? Don't come out until you knock?
I don't want you to wait outside for me in this weather. I'm saying.
Why would I wait for you outside? I'm on my couch with a blanket.
Yeah, you talk. Wow, man, I'm about to beat your ass in Mortal Kombat. This is the way you talk.
Yeah, you can try if you want. Oh yeah, are you bringing protection, by the way?
Nah, I'm gonna hit a rod, you know?
Oh, do you say you're gonna raw dog it?
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Oh, okay, I never did it like that.
Oh, yeah?
No, I saw somebody's shirt say that though.
Wow.
This guy, Big Herm, was talking absolutely wild on the phone. You know, obviously we can't show the full phone call on YouTube.
Holy
but he said a lot of wild things, and just the fact that he said that he wanted to raw dog it with with this girl is just beyond me.
It's so dark I can barely see you. How you doing? I didn't even see like the car lights or nothing. How are you?
So beautiful.
Thank you.
We hear the decoy open the door, and then we hear a male voice.
Yo, this is cold.
Well, it's not like it's not like I bought it or nothing.
Oh boy, Big Herm is in the house. It's game time.
What's up? Come here.
Good to
Go
meet you.
straight for the hug.
Let's play.
No, come here.
Hold on.
Let me see.
You're making me nervous. What? You're making me nervous. But ain't no way what?
I'm not being name respect,
Huh?
I'm not being name respect. This is not serious, bro.
Yeah, you don't even really like it. It don't matter.
What the f? You don't even look this
Yeah. It's nice over here.
crazy.
It's not like where we were at was not the nicest.
No,
but
that
it's
was the
way
restroom real
nicer.
quick.
Right over there.
She said I'm making her dead.
Even though he was invited over to a complete stranger's house and he was there to do something rather illegal, Big Herm was completely calm and cool and just comfortable being there.
No!
Not a worry in his mind that he was getting ready to commit a f***ing felony.
I'm saying, like, he's so like chill.
Yeah, you were just for a second. I was
Like, it's not his first rodeo.
Did you check on that target for you?
Oh, what kind of phone you got?
Got a dual pistol.
Let me see. This thing has like, I think right here. Oh my god. It has like 3. It has like all of them on there.
Look at you. Oh yeah, I like you. That's your balcony right here?
Huh?
That's your balcony?
Yeah.
That's wild.
There's like bugs out there though. I don't like it at night because there's so many moths and they're scary.
Hey, so when's your mom coming back?
Tomorrow, like 8:30? 8:30 or 9ish. So who are you gonna be? I know you said you played a long time ago.
Listen.
Do you even remember their names? Was it in black and white that time? No, I'm just kidding.
No, you do.
I'm just kidding.
What's up, bitch? Bro, I feel like I'm gonna forget me. I just edited me. What's up?
You feel like you're gonna what?
Fucking crazy.
You feel like you're gonna lose? Well, all you gotta do is try. You don't die in real life. It's just a game.
I mean, he might though. Once he goes to jail and they find out what he in for.
What's that?
My glasses.
Oh. I didn't know.
You tied it up?
It's like a fake one. You gonna do the reptile? I knew it!
I have to try it.
Sub-Zero. I knew it.
I knew he was a Sub-Zero player. I could just see it when he walked in.
I freaking knew that. Where's my number? Oh, there's a bunch of snacks. You want some to drink? Well, there's only like...
You got water?
Dang.
Yeah, there's not really any top. Diet Coke, which...
Now, we were hiding out in the laundry room, and I let the door crack so that I could see everything that was going on. And Big Herm was getting a little bit handsy with the decoy. A bit too handsy, if you ask me. Every time I looked through the door crack and looked at Big Herm, he was just smiling, just drooling, salivating over the decoy.
Diet Coke. You want some? Yeah.
I'm good.
I know.
Good now?
Yeah, you're good.
Not mad?
I'm not mad. I'm not even being mean.
Finally, Big Herm and the Decoy are playing Mortal Kombat.
Okay. Wait, what's the... Okay, that's it? Oh, so is this the block? Okay, that's the Herm. I already got it now. Good one, good. Oh, hey, listen, calm down.
No! No!
You took a bit of it.
Why?
Because I just know you're gonna keep attacking. Oh man, you dodged.
Come on.
I'm looking through the cracked door again at Big Herm, just watching, you know, his whole demeanor as he's playing Mortal Kombat. And I look down at what his fingers are doing on the controller. And this man is just button mashing. I mean, he's just mashing literally the same button the whole time. I mean, I was offended, you know, but again, you know, typical Sub-Zero main, you know. Well, what can you expect?
Damn, this thing's getting my...
What? I thought you were about to die.
Nah, it wasn't.
Now, Big Herm had won the first match against the Decoy, and he didn't do a fatality. But little did he know that he was about to get finished himself as soon as I walked out that door.
It was what I did.
Mission compromised.
Rematch?
Yeah.
What's going on, Herm?
Oh,
Good, are we out?
finish him.
Go and have a seat, please.
Whoa.
With the Predatorial Investigation Unit, sir.
No. I'm not.
Sir, can you please have a seat?
Listen.
Sir, just have a seat,
Okay.
please.
Okay.
It's going to be in your best interest.
Okay.
It's going to be in your best interest.
I'm not looking for.
Sir.
No. It's
You're
not
not-
what you think.
You have any idea?
Sir.
It's not
Okay.
what you think, sir. I promise.
Okay.
You. I'm not. No. We was just playing games.
Just playing games?
No, listen.
Playing a
listen,
pretty
listen.
dangerous game.
No. I promise you. I don't have no background in that at all. I
And
promise you.
in what?
Nothing. I don't do nothing. I'm not like that. I promise you guys.
You're
You
not
hear
like...
me?
Explain, Herm. You're not like what?
I'm not what you think I am. I'm not.
What
like
do you
that.
think that I think you are?
I'm sorry.
Well, explain. What do you think that I think you are?
Listen, please.
I'm listening, Herm. Floor's yours.
Okay. I'm not like that. I promise you.
Okay. You're not like what?
I don't have no background. I don't have no background like that. I really don't.
Herm, you're being vague. I don't know. You have to explain what you're talking about.
I fucked up by coming home here. I understand.
And why would you be f***ing up by coming over here?
It wasn't right.
I think I need to go into zombies.
Why wasn't it?
Because it's just
Then I could at least get
online and stuff like that.
Well, meeting people online is okay.
more daily
in general.
challenges.
But why isn't it okay in this instance?
Because I was going to meet a young girl. Not
A young girl. How young?
What's that?
She
You're here to meet.
kills with a pistol.
You want to try again?
No.
You don't want to try again?
Listen.
Now, Herm, the problem with your statement is I have the chat log here. And before I look at it, do you want to try answering the question again a little more truthfully? The girl that you're here to meet tonight is.
I understand.
Okay. So, what makes it okay? First of all, how old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay.
It's not okay.
So, and she's. So what? I mean, what made you come over here and meet her then? Now, this Big Herm character was a, pretty sizable guy, really big guy. Pretty intimidating. It's a good thing I had, 2 security guards with me. I really had to double up on the security this time around for Big Herm. There's some people out there that will say that size doesn't really matter, and it's totally untrue. Size does matter. And speaking of which, this video is actually sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, who is America's biggest injury law firm. What up? It's your boy Sellout Skeet here, and I'm here to talk to you about Morgan & Morgan. Morgan is a member of the Pain and Injury Tune for giving away until and to $7 at clients until the. Do you want it to do?
I wasn't thinking, sir.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking.
It definitely sounds like you were thinking.
But what else did you want to do besides play games?
Sound like you wanted to play some Mario for her. About piping her down later?
No.
You said something about piping.
Wow, security dude with the.
And what else? What else do you remember saying to her, Herm?
Listen.
Like you were going to play some.
I'm not like that.
Some Mario.
Okay, but what else were you talking about with her?
Pipe her down.
I was talking about stupid shit.
Stupid shit. I'm just gonna put this up in here so I can hear you better. What kind of stupid stuff were you talking about?
I don't have a past of this, okay? I know.
So this is your first time?
I never did anything like that.
Never?
You could already hold my hand and try to kiss and touch my face already.
You did try to do that, Herm.
No, listen. I f***ed up. I know I did. Okay?
Now it's the I fucked
and I
up.
apologize for doing that. But I wasn't. But I already knew she was older. I just had a feeling.
You already knew she was
older.
older.
Not really lying about her age, but like she looked a lot older, and like I already knew because the second I saw her,
Okay.
she was older.
So you knew she was older as you were talking to her?
Yeah.
Even though she told you she was. Does that really make sense, Herm?
Herm.
I mean, she
Does
tells
that
you
make
here,
sense, Herm?
and you say, I thought you were
Herm.
on the app, and you say,
Herm.
well, but then you said I'm too old for you.
Serenaded
Well,
by
why didn't you
Walleye.
end the conversation there, Herm?
I should have.
Herm.
And why didn't you, though?
I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking. Don't you think you should think a little
Yes.
bit, Herm? Use your head.
Don't you think that would have been a good idea, Herm?
I'm not here to start anything or anything.
Okay.
I f***ed up. I'll own up to it. I should have been
Okay.
more smart.
I see, Herm, but this is just one of those mistakes you'd landed yourself in that you just might not be able to talk yourself out of.
It's a pretty big mistake there, Herm.
Well, I just have a few questions for you, if that's okay. I mean, you call her a little shorty a lot. Is that just something you generally call, your female interests? Little shorty? Is that what you?
Yes.
Okay. So you thought of her as your little shorty, in some sense. How long have you been talking to this girl, Herm?
We started talking in the app.
Oh, you don't have to look at your phone. I'm just asking you. I know the answer. I just want to hear from you.
No, we started talking in the app probably like a month ago.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you even say hit me up in 4 years, though, but then you still go back to talking to her. You say, I'm a big dude. I would crush you. And then I remember on the phone, what were you talking about on the phone with her just before you got here? Reiterate. Please. What was stupid that you said?
What I gotta do?
No, well, I just
What I gotta do?
I just want to know, Herm, what was the stupid thing you said?
Yeah, Herm. Share with us. What was,
If you could please answer my questions.
You
What was the
you
stupid
mentioned
thing
saying
that you
something
said
stupid.
on the phone?
What was it? What was that you said?
Answer the question, Herm. I just want answers.
Just,
I mean,
we're
really.
just curious, Herm.
I recall you saying that you wanted to, quote unquote, raw dog her. Do the raw dog. You said you weren't going to bring a condom, and you're. I mean, what was ultimately, what was your plan, Herm?
I mean, obviously we saw who was playing the game.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your plan after that?
I wasn't planning on it.
It's gonna chill.
Yeah.
So what about all the stuff you talked about in the chat log
That
here?
was just me talking. I don't have no history of this. I f***ed up.
So this is your first time doing this.
This is my first time being with someone that was on.
Do you know how many times I've heard that, Herm?
At least 3 today.
No, listen.
At least.
Listen. I don't have no background of being anybody.
Okay.
I work hard. I have my own job.
What do you do for work?
I'm a machine operator and also a package associate.
Where do you work?
I work for Home Depot.
For Home Depot. Okay. And I thought I saw that in the background of one of the pictures you took. So you're at Home Depot taking pictures in there. Is it a distribution center?
Yeah.
And you're taking those pictures and sending them to a girl that tells you she's. I mean, are you even supposed to be on your phone while you're working? And then you talk about your work here. You say big boss grind. You feel me?
When When I'm working, yeah.
When you're working, does this work for you? Do you feel like a boss right now, Herm?
No. I feel like I made a bad decision.
That's all. You just feel like you made a bad decision.
You feel like you made a bad
decision? I made a bad decision. I wasn't thinking straight.
You don't say.
But Herm, you. Yeah, it's fine.
From my Uber. From my Uber.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, Herm, you called an Uber to get here, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, time out. She said my phone's gonna die from my Uber. So, is this also a warning for me up?
Herm, I'm gonna get to that in a minute here.
Hold up, sir. Can I listen?
No,
I'm not a bad guy. You can check my background history. The only thing I got arrested for was drinking. I never even attempted anything with no young chick.
How old were you when you were drinking?
Just let him finish.
I was 18. My fault.
He's here to ask you.
Listen,
Yeah, just a few questions.
Can I just talk to all you guys first?
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
I'm not a bad guy. I made a bad decision, and I'm like truly sorry about that. Like I'm not a person that's gonna. I'm not no offender. I'm not a predator or anything. That's it.
But the things you were talking about.
I know. Like I told you, sir.
So there's a difference between someone being a predator and someone.
I don't have a background. You can look me up.
Well, I understand you might not have a background, but maybe this is just the first time you've been caught, for all I know.
No.
Okay, but Herm, I don't have anything else to go off of. You talked about coming over, having sex, girl. You didn't want to use a condom. You talked about a lot of things on the phone with her, and you know very well she's, and that's why you're trying to be so careful.
Because I know it was wrong, and I should have known it was wrong.
Then why? I mean, why do it then, Herm?
I was so cautious that I should have made a better decision, and I still went with it, not thinking.
And why'd you do it, Herm?
Because I'm stupid. I'm stupid, but like
You know, I mean, you got a pretty decent job. You work out every day. You seem like overall. You seem like a good guy. But then, okay, but you can say that, but then look at what I have here.
I understand, but you gotta understand.
I understand. I understand you don't have a background.
I don't even
I understand you might not have a background, Herm. But that doesn't excuse the behavior.
I understand.
You know, I mean, you talked, just real big game on the phone. So you were just planning to come here, play the game with her, and.
Was just gonna chill. I asked her that people over there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed. I didn't ask you where the
Fuck.
bathroom.
I know.
Truly.
But you came in.
I'm not gonna lie. Not 100%. I was not gonna do.
You came in. You held her hand a little bit. You wanted to hug. You were getting a little handsy.
Yes.
So it seemed like you.
But like, I didn't say where's your room at.
Oh, I understand.
I wasn't really planning on doing anything. I'm not.
Okay, I understand that, but the whole time you were doing those things when you were here, you were under the impression that this girl was.
Nah, until I saw her.
But until coming here.
Yeah.
Then you realized it.
Now I realized
Damn it.
that. And
Looks
but
like I
you see what
Look at my background. I've never even talked to no.
I've already looked at that, but you've got to see it how I'm seeing it. But up until the point of you getting here, you thought she was. Right? That's where the problem lies, Herm. And this is illegal activity. You understand that this is illegal.
No, I
I've
gotta
seen guys
hope for,
do a lot of
hope
time
for
for stuff
someone
like
to come
this.
pick me up, hopefully.
So, I mean, what do you think should happen to you, Herm?
Herm.
I feel like you should just give me another chance to just prove you guys wrong. I'm not like that.
You want a chance to prove yourself?
No, not like that. Yes, sir. If
Okay.
you don't mind.
Okay, Herm, I'm willing to give you a chance here.
Can you stop him from calling the officers over here then?
I'll get to that. I can give you a chance here.
Okay, what I gotta do?
Well, if you want this to all go away,
Yes, sir.
we can play some Mortal Kombat here. And if
Are you
you
serious?
if you beat me, you get to walk away scot-free.
Thank you.
Deal? And if you lose, then you may go to jail tonight, Herm.
No, I'm talking about like.
If you lose.
No, it's not about me losing. That's what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about. Can you just give me another chance?
Yeah, this is your chance. If you beat me in Mortal Kombat, you can walk away scot-free, and we'll just forget all about it.
You were kind of a bit of a nerd back in the day.
You seem like you play a pretty good Sub-Zero. And Jax. You beat her.
So you already want to know.
Yeah, do you... This may be your only... What do you have to lose, Herm, at this point?
I mean, it's a guy in a suit. How bad can it be?
I mean, I used to play back in the day, too, a little bit.
What do you want me to do here?
And if you win, we can let them know it's a misunderstanding.
It's not that. No. I don't forget that. What do you want me to do? What I gotta do?
We can play Mortal Kombat.
Forget the Mortal Kombat. What I gotta do to prove to you guys that this was just a mistake? What do you want me to do here?
Is the answer too simple? Because the answer is just Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, like if you win, we'll forget it all.
No, man.
And we'll just, maybe we'll call the whole...
Stop.
I'm just saying we'll call the whole thing off if you...
First, it sounds fake. Like they're just lying to him that they're not going to... They're
It's
just
an
doing it
agreement.
to
We have an agreement
mess with
as far as
him.
I can see. So if you want to grab the controller, I'll grab the other controller.
Boss, what do you want me to do here?
Just the longer you wait.
No, it's not about the longer I wait. What do you want me to do here?
Just told you. You just gotta pick up the sticks and play a game more Kombat.
You just won,
I
Herm.
didn't know that's what we had to do to get. I thought we were just gonna practice, chill out and everything.
Well, that's what we're doing. We can chill out.
What do you guys want me to do?
Herm,
what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do?
Herm, do you not...
No,
I don't... I'm trying to
I fucked
understand.
up. No, I'm not. What do you want me to do?
Herm, if you want to pick up the sticks and we can just play a match.
I'm not even in the rest of the mind to want to play any games right now. I already know if I messed up.
I understand you might not be, Herm, but...
Listen, I messed up. What do you want me to do here? What do I gotta do?
Herm, how can I make it more clear to you? I mean, this would be your...
I messed up. I'm not like this.
I got you.
This dude is scared
This
for
would be,
his
your
life,
only
as he
fighting
should.
chance.
But Lord, his brain must be mush right now. Like you're telling me you did all this.
I mean,
and
Herm, the
I could
longer you wait, the worse it could
Mortal
potentially
Kombat.
get.
Let's just play Mortal Kombat. I don't know.
Okay.
What do
we're
you
listening,
What do
Herm.
you guys want me to do here?
If you just keep asking the same question, but the answer is still the same, you just
I mean, we can just...
I don't know if anybody's gonna come get
we can
me.
just play a match and then...
This is like a lot of hope in the world.
Herm, it's... I thought you needed your glasses to play. I'm ready to play.
Poor Herm.
So Herm, do you want to just play a match?
I almost feel sorry for you, bud.
I'm not in the I'm not just. I f***ed up.
Okay.
I f***ed up.
Okay.
What do you guys? What I gotta do to get out of this?
The only
Bruh.
way you could get out of it is if you beat me. If you beat me in a match, Herm. I mean, why not just try it? It would have already been over by now if you just played when the opportunity came up.
Swear, the way Skeeter handles these things is so funny, though.
Well, you're fine, Herm. I mean, we're all just we're just chilling.
Hey, Herm is scared as fuck.
Do you want to grab the controller, Herm?
Maybe sit down, have a drink of water.
No, man.
No.
Sit back and
This
relax.
is too much for me right now.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
No, I already know. I already told you I fucked up. I already told you this. But it was illegal what I did. It was illegal what I did. It's up what I did. I understand.
It is. I mean, I'm trying to understand why you did it.
I wasn't thinking.
Just wasn't thinking. You can't just
I
do
understand.
illegal things and claim you weren't thinking, Herm.
I understand. I understand.
You know, it just doesn't. That's just not how life works.
I understand.
So.
What do you?
Do you understand that?
Well, Herm, you have two options. Do
Herm.
nothing, wait for the police to get here, and possibly.
What are you
go to
gonna do,
jail time.
Herm?
I can't. I don't have it.
Or
My bail, man.
you don't have what?
I don't have anybody that can get my bail tonight.
Well, Herm, your best chance would be.
What do you guys want me to tell you? Like, I'm not a bad person.
I got you. I got you.
I'm gonna go home, man.
How are you gonna get home? Herm,
There's also a strong action between like actions and words, right? When you say things and you do things, there's two different worlds to live in, right?
I understand.
So you're here today to do what you said you were going to do.
And
All right?
I'm not leaving at the
I'm not.
Yeah?
Listen, I fucked up. I
Okay.
told you guys that.
I understand that, but does that make it right?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm owning up to it.
I understand that. I understand that. I understand that.
I understand you. I get it, Herm. I get it.
Let's just back up a bit here, though. Okay?
No. I'm
Yeah,
not.
let's just
I'm
back
not
up a bit.
hostile. I'm
No,
not
I
hostile.
don't think you are.
understand. I just
I'm not
we just
hostile.
want to make sure we're all friends here. We just want to make sure that
We are.
We want to make sure that we keep a little distance, healthy
I
distance
mean, we're
between one another.
yeah,
That's
we're,
all.
My fault.
you're
I'm
good.
not,
We're
I'm not hostile.
Oh, you're good. We're cool. Yeah, we're cool here. But Herm, do you want to have a chance at it? I mean, you might as well. That's what's on the
Dude,
table.
I don't. This doesn't make no sense. I fucked up and I have to get my way out of it. I have to play a game with you. No, man. Like,
Bro, he is still so
I
fucking.
know, but it could be.
Yeah, he is
redemption.
shook.
No, there's no redemption in this. I'm not thinking straight.
I
I'm
gotcha.
not thinking smart. There's no redemption.
Okay, so you want to just do nothing then?
I don't necessarily want to do nothing.
Okay.
What I want is to let you guys know I fucked up. What I gotta do.
Herm, we've heard that
I didn't
dozens
act
of
on
times.
anything.
Yeah, I understand, but you
So,
talked about it in the conversation.
Okay.
You talked
so,
about it, and
so
now
what
you're
now?
here.
What now? Because I can't lose my job and I can't lose my way of living because of one mistake. So what could I do?
Herm, this is a grave mistake.
I know.
I mean, it's
What
just.
are you telling me?
It's not you stole a bag of chips from the corner store.
I know.
It's not a petty crime. This is potentially a we're talking about, and a grown man meeting up with that and
Yes, sir.
having with her. That would be statutory.
I understand.
Potentially.
Okay. So potential.
I don't think you really understand,
It is,
bro.
but it seems like from what I have here, what you
Herm.
said on the phone, it seems like you were going to do it.
Herm.
I don't have anything here that points to you not doing it.
I understand.
Herm.
Okay.
Herm.
Okay, Herm. So, I mean, it's a legal activity, and this, it's not something
on,
we can
Herm.
just sweep under the
I
rug
understand
that
that.
easily, at least,
Okay, you said not that easily. So what I gotta do?
If you want to play a match for Mortal Kombat,
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, what I gotta do
That's
to
what
make
I-
this right. That's
I
not the
don't-
Mortal Kombat. What I gotta do to make this right?
I don't know how I can make it more clear.
You can ask, what do you think you should do to make this right?
Whatever you guys need me to do, do.
Telling you
Told you.
what, and you don't like that answer.
No, it's not that. It's just I up. So, am I gonna get arrested?
That's not up to me to decide.
What do you mean?
It's not up to me to decide.
You guys wasn't arresting me?
It's going to be the police, if anything.
You got a free shot to walk away. Might as well
All I gotta do is win one match, or even one round. At this point. So do you want to attempt it, Herm?
Just gonna lose all my stuff.
I mean, I could hear from the other room. You seem like your Sub-Zero's pretty solid.
Up, man.
I realize that.
Okay.
I realize that, Herm. It's just a bad situation all around.
I understand.
You know. I mean, what do you think should happen to you, Herm?
I already know you're gonna put me in the registry.
Is that what you think should happen to you?
I don't think that should happen to me because I'm not that type of person, but I
Okay.
don't know what you want me to tell you, man.
Okay. Yeah, it's just I have a whole and multiple recorded phone calls
I know. I never did it.
all day. I mean, you even Herm.
I understand.
You
I understand.
let me say
I understand.
something.
Go ahead.
You even had time to sleep on it, as they would say, because you talked to her earlier this afternoon. Then you went to bed and woke up, and you still said, "Okay, let me go ahead and have sex with this."
So you had all day contemplate, like, bro, not even just that. He's been contemplating on this for days. He's been going back and forth with this decoy for so long, bro. Like,
No.
That's what you thunk up today, though, isn't it, Herm?
No.
Herm.
So when you When you woke up, what were you thinking then? The first thing you did was text her. And shortly after, you said you wanted to raw dog it with her. So you had time to sleep on it, and you woke up, and you still made a bad decision.
Listen, of course, I told you I made a bad decision.
But you made a lot of bad decisions, not just
something
one.
like this, or do you think
That's a
they should
lot
just
of bad decisions
get a slap on the wrist
sequentially.
and walk away? Okay. Hey, what do you think should happen to such person?
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, but Herm, you sure you don't want to have a chance here? Herm, it's just one game.
Herm.
It's literally just one game.
It's just one game, Herm.
You may not be if you win.
So, I mean, you can go, but you realize how it's going to work if you then proceed to run and leave.
Oh, we'd have to follow him from a distance and let the officers know where he is.
Why would I run for? I'm not running. What are you talking about? I'm running.
No, it just seems like you're.
No.
Okay,
no,
that's
I'm
fine.
my stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I'm not running.
Okay.
If you say you're a good guy, then at least talk to the cops when they get here, and then you can explain your case. Because if you aren't a good guy and you did these things,
I never did anything like this.
Right, I understand. But you see how then it then starts, and then it can quickly decline. I mean, you're free to go.
What do you mean I'm free
Wow.
to go? You guys not holding me hostage?
No, you're not detained.
I mean, you've never been held hostage. I'm just trying to ask you a few questions here.
Herm.
No one here said
Just
that you were
trying to get some information out of you, Herm.
Well, it would be cool to play just a match of Mortal Kombat,
That's why we said, play some
and then we could just call it off.
It's literally that simple.
I mean, you might have a running chance here, Herm.
I'm not gonna run.
No, I mean, you might have a chance at.
I'll just play you. I already know I'm in trouble, but I'm gonna play you.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, lights back on. Oh, Herm, I have to select my character here. I'm not so much of a Katana player.
Even after we're done playing, I'm not leaving.
Okay. I'm more of
a
a Lee May kind of guy myself. Now, it was a challenge in itself, just getting Big Herm to sit down and pick up the sticks. But once he did, I was very happy. I really wanted to kick this guy's ass in this game.
But just so you're clear, you can leave if that.
Yeah, if you beat me. Yeah.
Why would I leave for? I already told you guys I f***ed up. I'm not here to make your job even worse or harder. That's not the type of person I am.
We appreciate that, Herm.
fucked up.
We do appreciate that. We'll
I'm
just go
playing
for.
it because it's just a better thing to do.
I mean, might as well kill some time, you know.
It's not that. My thing about me is I'm not gonna just. I don't run. I don't run away and be stupid. I already done something stupid. I don't want you guys to think that I'm some. I already know what you guys think.
Well, we're listening to your case, Herm.
I know you have all the records. I fucked up.
Okay. See if I can remember the move here. Okay, that's the grab if I'm remembering correctly. Okay. Oh. How do we get out of this one? There is a block button.
You're good.
Yeah, I like I said, I'd heard him. I played a little bit back in the day.
The only MK I know is Ultra.
Crap. Yeah, Rick, I played this one just a couple times. The one I played back in the day was, I believe, MK Trilogy. Oh, he's just blocking. Yeah, there we go. There's the grab. Okay. You're under arrest. Just kidding, Herm. That was a striker. Come on. Oh, is that the only move Sub-Zero has? Jeez. Oh, jeez Louise. Oh, good breaker. I got to put you under arrest again there, Herm. Sorry about that. Oh, drapped. Oh, I think. No, say it ain't so. Hold on. There's no way. Oh, damn, Herm. You might have me stumped. All right, I got one chance here. I sandbagged him the first round. I had to let him think that he was hot shit before I really turned up the volume on him. All right.
It is.
What's the button gun?
Are they here?
Are you playing here, Herm?
Are they here?
No one's here, Herm.
Not even thinking, Herm. Oh, dang, you're good, bro.
It's okay, Herm.
Huh?
Okay, I'm starting to remember a few things now.
Coming back here.
Yeah, it's starting to come back.
Why you guys recording that?
It's starting to come back. Oh, it's just for documentation purposes, Herm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That way you can look at the game later on and see what you did wrong.
Oh, under arrest again. Oh, there it is.
Hey, you good, bro. I'm not as good.
I'm trying to put him just under arrest one more time. Do I remember? I forget the fatality. All right. Do you want to do one more?
No.
Make sure. I mean, you put up a fight there, Herm. It wasn't a bad effort.
No.
Do you want to double or
Any
nothing?
more?
Can I get a second chance, man?
Yeah, we can rematch right now.
Not like that.
Well, how then?
What do you want me to do, man? What do you like? What do you?
Well, I mean, if you lost.
Well, it's not bad.
Well, I mean, you did agree to you did lose, so.
I know.
And you shook on the agreement.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're gonna have to go through with letting the authorities know her about what's going on here, and this behavior.
I understand. So what now?
I guess we just wait it out, Herm. We'll just have to wait it out. Are you sure you don't want to do a rematch though? Okay.
Sounds like. Can I get some air?
Are
you guys cool with that?
I mean, it's cool, Herm, but I mean, I just wanted to. Do you have anything else that you had to say for yourself here?
Not a bad guy, and I messed up.
Okay. All right, Herm. Well, if that's all you have to say, then what I had to let you know is that I am Skeet Hansen with the Predatorial Investigation Unit, and we're actually doing an online series about adults who try to meet up with online for sex.
Okay.
And you just been skeeted in 4K.
So, are you saying that this was a bullet? I messed up, and I gotta do better. Are you saying
I would agree that you got to do better.
I know, but are you saying that like I'm good? And this is
You're
just a
not.
wake-up call?
You did a bad thing here, Herm. I'm
I
not
know,
saying
but
you're
is
good.
this are you saying this is just a wake-up call, and I just can't be stupid like that?
I don't want you to be stupid like that. No. I hope that you'll never be stupid like that.
Thank you.
I mean,
right, Herm? I mean, I hope that you're not.
I'm not like that. I'm not,
Okay.
Thank you. You don't want to say? Okay. I understand.
I mean, in a couple of weeks you'll be able to watch this online and you can get some tips on how you can do better in the next game.
Possibly.
I seen you.
What's that?
I seen you on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
Did you?
What you see him doing?
I don't know if it was you though. I don't know. So.
Who was it?
I don't understand what's
So
up
what
with
were
this
you
guy.
guys
Saying that
I was just letting you know that you've just been skeeted.
What does that mean? Skeeted.
It's just my catchphrase. I'm Skeet Hansen. I just say you just
So,
been
like-
skeeted.
And like, what do you mean like skeeted? Like you mean like prank or something like that? Well, not
No,
prank,
like
but-
you've been skeeted. It's just it means what you want it to mean, Herm.
So what now?
Well, now since you did lose the match in Mortal Kombat, we have to wait on the authorities to address the situation. We have to get them involved.
I didn't.
You didn't what, Herm?
You just said I've been skeeted. This is on top of TV show, so can I go now?
Well, it's still illegal, so the police still have to address the situation. Well, Herm, Where are you headed to, Herm?
And his ID number is 1.
Your what?
59.
Okay, Herm. You.
He actually looks like he's.
Herm, it'd be best if we just wait on the porch here.
You just kind of see it.
Herm?
Herm.
Herm, could I just have a few words? I mean, do you want to just sit on the porch? There's a sitting spot around back.
Am I getting arrested?
What's that?
Am I getting arrested?
Herm, that's not ultimately going to be up to us to decide.
Talk to the authorities and see what they want to do.
It's going to be up to them to decide when they arrive here.
So, I'm good?
I mean, I wouldn't say you're good, but we
No, I'm talking
can't.
I'm good to order my Uber.
Herm, it's your phone, your life. You can technically do whatever you want, at least for now.
Okay.
Until the police are able to get in contact with you, whether that be at home or at work or wherever.
I understand. You guys okay if I put my jacket on? I'm not reaching for anything.
Sure.
All right, my Uber is 10 minutes away.
Okay.
So I'm fine.
You're fine, Herm.
Can I have that Coke? Are you guys okay with that?
What Coke?
The Coke that was on the table.
I mean, how much free shit you want, man?
I mean, you got to play Mortal Kombat for free.
I don't want no free.
I don't want to see you on those apps again, Herm. I don't want to see you on those apps again. And work on your Mortal Kombat skills.
Really, Skeet? Of all fucking things, bro. Big Herm was free to go on his night as the police were not able to come out and address the situation. But his actions will not go unknown. For the very next day, we went to his local police department to make a report. Although his soul is protected for now, it's possible that he may one day find himself imprisoned in the nether realm with all the rest of the corrupted souls. Oh my god. Oh, Herm. Oh, Herm.
All right, so here we are at the police department of the city that our boy Big Herm lives in. Since he did lose the Mortal Kombat match last night, unfortunately, we do have to report him to the authorities. So we're going to go ahead and make this report now. All right, here we go. We're at the police station in Mount Juliet.
I'll take that.
Oh, someone's calling on the phone here. Hello. Hi, I just wanted to make a report on an individual that lives in this city. Essentially, we run this sort of sting operation where we catch online predators. They thought they were meaning a with connotations of.
Just to pull up that address. The reason why is because us in Wilson County, we have puzzle pieces of Mount Juliet sometimes, so it might say a Mount Juliet address, but it won't be in our jurisdiction. Give me 1 second. This is the first time I've kind of handled one of these.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure you'll probably have to go to the Hendersonville Police Department since the setup was there and it happened there. Do you remember the address of where that happened? Okay, give me 1 second. Let me see the proper jurisdiction that you're going to be in, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just stay on the line, hold on.
Yes, sir.
And what's the organization that you're with?
It's called the Predatorial Investigation Unit.
And this occurred yesterday?
Last night, yes, at around, what time approximately?
Last night.
What time approximately was it? Around 8:30 or so? Or no, I'm sorry, around 10 o'clock last night.
Soon, looks like I do have a couple officers available, so it should just be within the next little bit.
Next little bit, okay, sounds good, I appreciate it. Okay, well, I'll be getting a call here shortly. I don't know if we'll be actually getting an officer to talk to. Up here, we're getting a call here.
Hi, this is Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Hold on just a moment. I'm going to connect you with the deputy.
Yes, ma'am.
You actually did speak with us last night. You talked
I did.
to or either you or no, sir. Y'all are not in the city limits of Hendersonville. You are in the county.
Oh, I see. I understand. Okay, so it should be just the same rundown that we were given last night.
From everything, you're more than welcome to bring it to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in Gallatin.
The Sumner County Sheriff's Office? Okay.
Sit down, we can go over it all, and we can get it submitted into evidence.
Okay. We will We will do that then. Are they 24 hours as well? I'm trying to get to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. I just have just a report I have to make here. We basically set up a sting operation called an individual last night who was trying to partake in with who we thought to be a girl. And we talked to dispatch in there, and they rerouted us to go to, I want to say it was Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Yes, Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Like, what would be like the best way of getting there from here?
I would go up to Lebanon Road.
Lebanon Road?
Right up that north.
Up north that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go up to Lebanon Road. Go.
So north that, I'm pretty sure I can figure it out from there, but north that way, basically?
Go north to Lebanon Road.
Okay.
Turn right onto Lebanon Road.
Great.
Once you go all the way up to 109.
109, okay, yeah, we were just on that.
Yep,
Let's get
and
here.
it'll say, it's a Gallatin exit. It'll say exit to Gallatin.
Okay.
And you're going to go left on 109.
Gotcha. Fantastic, ma'am. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So we got to go around north. So it was north that way, she said.
North this
Then,
way?
yep, then
Okay.
on the freeway we were already headed on.
Gotcha.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. Well, unfortunately for Big Herm, he lost the Mortal Kombat match. So a deal's a deal. I had to get the police involved. Now, due to some circumstances, they weren't able to come out and address the situation directly. So, of course, I had to go to the police department where Big Herm lived and file the report there. Everything has been submitted and detectives are looking into it, and that's all we can really do for now. Big Herm may be free for now, and even if nothing ends up happening to him on the legal side of things, hopefully this ass-kicking in Mortal Kombat was a wake-up call for him. You know, hopefully he doesn't try to do a thing like this ever again. We know that there are many, many other predators out there, just like Big Herm, and if they happen to fall into our investigation, they will be discovered, and they will ultimately get skeeted, just as Big Herm did on this night. He really couldn't handle being skeeted in 4K. I think maybe if it was 1080p, he would have been all right, but once he heard 4K, he just couldn't do it. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed this episode of To Skeet a Predator. I've been your host, Skeet Hansen. Thank you, and good night.
Sheesh, why is he running?
This man, Tyler Perry, born Emmett Tyler Perry Jr., had contacted me.
What are the chances of you dating your favorite celebrity? We all have grown up to crush on a famous singer or actor, but what are the odds of them falling in love with us? Today, we delve into an internet relationship with a woman named Nikki who claims to be in an online relationship with the famous director Tyler Perry. In her mind, there is no way that he could possibly be a scam bitch. Let's jump into this.
They think I'm crazy. I said, whatever. Good. Y'all can think I'm crazy. Because when the time comes, I'm going to shake my head and say, thank you, Jesus.
Real quick, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your comment and like could help stop someone from being scammed. Let's get into it.
My name is Nikki Kyles. I am from Florida. I'm 42 now. I have two beautiful children, 18 and 9. 2 baby daddies, been married twice already. Both of my ex-husbands,
Been married twice,
they're
got 2
married,
baby
and I
daddy.
thank God for that because they don't have to bother me. And we all have a cordial relationship. I'm a minister also. That's why you see me in church. This is like my peaceful place.
Do you have any hobbies or things you like to do in your free time outside of ministry?
I love spending time with my family. And I love the beach also. I love going to the beach. That's my quiet time. I sit on the fan and just me and the Lord be talking and whatnot. God is so, he is really faithful to me, like really, really. But I'm one of those women, men always want to marry me for some reason. And I'm like,
really?
Oh, you're so beautiful. I said, just because I don't wear makeup and I just keep it 100 with you. Listen, certain things I just don't deal with.
So, what did you reach out to our team for?
This man, Tyler Perry, born Emmett Tyler Perry Jr., had contacted me on June 22nd, 2023.
How was your experience with this person online dating? So tell us how.
I don't even date no online. Oh, honey, do you see me? I do not need to date online. I don't need to date online. I know how to socialize with people. Everyday men try to talk. I had to turn their black asses down. I have a standard.
So where did he reach out to you from? And then
Instagram, and was like, oh, he want to reach out to some of his fans. I said, listen, I'm not a fan. I don't watch it. I have not paid none of your bills. I don't even own a TV. So why is you trying to reach out to me? I know I have made some comments on your page before because I really feel that a man should not be wearing a dress. No offense to somebody, and no offense. But if you're a celebrity, you're a black man, and you're wearing a dress, that is not right. Maybe you're upset about that. I don't know. Why are you reaching out to me?
I'm actually a pretty big Tyler Perry fan, which is funny because I actually love all his movies. But I'm curious because it sounds like you went straight to the point and told him, hey, look, like I'm not a fan of yours. How did he take that?
I tell him I deal with all professional people. Like, he a billionaire. I deal with people that had more than him. Okay, what's your point? It's just you a nobody.
You've been with somebody who had billions of dollars?
A box. You in a box right now, but when you pull
I
out
find
that
that very
box,
hard
you know
to
what
believe.
happened? You a person. So I just treat him like a damn person, basically. So the conversation, kind of lingered on more, but then we just kind of started
She's
a
so full of
conversation, and he started calling me baby. I'm like, listen, I'm not your baby. I don't know. You didn't have me, and so unless you gonna marry me, but you can't call me. I'm sorry, you don't have the privilege to.
What did yours and Tyler's conversations look like?
I can say he's a very loving person. Every now and then, he sent me little butterflies, like online from our messenger or from my phone to his phone. And it's just like, I can just feel, those little butterflies inside of me. He has a way of calming me down. I had a situation with my second husband. I told Tyler, I'm like, listen, this is what's going on with my son. I'm angry. But he said, listen, you got to calm down. Calm down. It's going to be okay. So I had to do a breather, like, and I was just relaxed. So he know how to, say those words and just.
What do you and Tyler have in common?
We have a lot in common, like really a lot in common. Me and him got the same birthday. Do you? Yeah. Very strange, right? He know how to apologize. I know how to apologize. I'm not gonna go to bed angry. He not gonna go to bed angry. I want a daughter. He wants a daughter. He already got the name, and I'm like, Lisa is good. Lisa Perry. I can accept. That's fine. Every day he prayed. At a certain time, his prayer hour, and I always tell him, pray for me.
Does he have any other
How do you know
nicknames
that?
for
Or is that just
you?
what the
Sometimes I
catfish
call
tells
him
you?
honey. Oh, he called me queen too. I said, when I get to you, I'm gonna just like claw you, Forgive me. Lord, I know I'm in church. I don't supposed to be talking like this. This is why I came in here, Lord, because I'm just giving it all to you, Lord. Just thank you. For the past 13 years, ever since 2008, right? I've been having all these dreams about this man. Like, why does he keep popping in my dream? I don't know why, but God knows. I had a dream that I was at this park. This black car drove past. And I didn't pay no mind. Then it came back again, and it bought some flowers in a car, and it said Tyler Perry. One, I'm not a fan, so I really did not know who this gentleman was, and I kind of like brushed it off to the side. And then the next scene, I'm at the church, me and this individual getting married, and I woke up. Okay, what is going on?
You were having these dreams in 2008. So are you trying? How does that connect to Tyler today?
It's like the dreams are fulfilling. It's all like coming all to what the dreams are coming to reality. He has dreams too, just like myself, all the time. And he's like, I see you in my house. I said, oh, okay, I'm coming. Don't worry, I'll be there with you.
You gotta manifest it. You gotta manifest it
together.
Are you in love with Tyler?
I am in love with him, but I don't know if he feels the same way. Actually, yeah, he does feel the same way. He tell me he loves me. I tell him I love him. He put the little hearts and butterflies and.
So shifting gears just a little bit here. So when was the first time Tyler asked you for money, and what was it for?
The first time Tyler asked me for money, it was for these papers that he's doing with his lawyer, so I could become on his studio. On my studio ID, it has my name, but it says Nikki Perry, and my date of birth, my address, and phone number. He was like, I already signed the paperwork. I gave the papers to the lawyer since I paid them $1,000. His son needed these cards, like one, I think they call a screen card. But I told him I looked online. I said people be doing scamming with those things. What does he use this card for? And he said, he playing games with them. If it was for the baby, I'm all for the children. If you got so much billions and all this stuff going on, why are you letting someone that you say you love to be struggling? I don't understand it. I just don't understand. How the hell you gonna ask somebody for some damn money? What? Come on. Don't play with me.
Why'd you fall for it?
I done been scammed a whole lot of time, and I'm not gonna let your black ass scam me. So stop the bullshit. Because I do have a lot of ops out there. So it may be, it may be somebody that told me they love me, and then I don't want their ass no more, and they just trying to play games. It could be that. If it's that.
It probably is.
No, I'm gonna just do this. Kudos. Good for you.
Do all of your family and friends, do they know that you're talking to Tyler?
They think I'm crazy.
Pack a punch.
I said, whatever. Good. Y'all can think I'm crazy. Because when the time comes, I'm going to shake my head and say, thank you, Jesus.
So we're going to look into this. We're going to send you an email later, a breakdown of the information we need so we can investigate this for you.
Thank you.
Also have to be completely honest with you as well. There are a lot of red flags.
Okay.
Our job is to research this information and provide you with some clarity in this relationship.
Oh, thank you.
After this interview, we received several emails from Nikki. We gave her a list of screenshots and photos we would need to begin looking into this. We were a little caught off guard when we came across two pieces of information. One was a Cash App transaction, and the other was an email from a woman named Deborah. We hopped on a phone call with Nikki the next day to figure out why she never brought this up.
So I was going through all the research you sent me, and I noticed a Cash App transaction.
Which one?
So I don't think you mentioned this to us, but we actually saw where someone had sent you over $10,000.
Well, see, that's the thing, because he's at work for him, and he's been having this person Cash App me, and then we put it in Bitcoin. About 3 weeks ago, some lady named Deborah, she sent the Cash App, and then the next day, she want the money back. And I asked him, like, okay, what is going on? He said, oh, block her. So it kind of like all these red flags start coming, like, okay, what's going on? So, yes.
How many Cash Apps have you been receiving or sending?
A weekly?
Sure, yeah.
Well, weekly maybe like one time a week, sometimes twice a week.
So if you could estimate about how much money have you sent from Cash App to crypto?
At least, I said at least 12,000. At least 12,000 altogether within like a month and a half. Because every week, sometimes it's like 1,200, sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes it's 500.
You left out a big part. We didn't know about this.
Well, yeah. I know. I should have shared it with you in last
Gonna have
week,
to cut this
but
stream.
it kind of like blurred my mind.